This is like a much deeper review of the movie. I did like a little video just like initially just with my thoughts right after the movie, but like I watched it 2 more times and I think we've all watched it, I don't know, a couple of times.
Doing this on the first try.
Yeah.
But I can recall a lot.
Yeah, so we're gonna dive into like the meat of this movie, but
spoilers definitely.
Spoilers, Jar Jar Binks is Snoke.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Panel. Today, we are going to discuss probably the most divisive movie that I can remember.
Twilight.
No. Star Wars. The Last Jedi. But I got Sean, I got Justin, I got Andrew joining me today. I kind of wanted to pull like them together because I wanted to get a broad spectrum of opinions because this movie, like I said, is very divisive. So just to start, I kind of want to talk about what we didn't like. And let's just start with Andrew, and we'll kind of work our way this way. What stuff did you not like from the movie? And maybe like what's like one thing that you didn't like that you can kind of forgive? Maybe.
The amount of jokes. I felt like there were too many jokes. The humor. It was offbeat. It was on beat, but it was too much. So that made it really off for me.
Yeah.
When Poe made that joke, like calling Hux like a skinny. What was it?
The part where he was stalling, he's like,
he was straight up stalling him, and then he made a "yo mom" joke. That was probably where that joke went a little too far. Because in the Star Wars universe, are there really your mama jokes?
Yeah.
Too much. But that's one thing I can forgive because it made it kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like
out of place.
It should have been a little more serious. Like when Rey was telling Luke where she was from, he said, "I'm from Jakku." Okay, that really is nowhere. Like, I thought that was that.
You didn't like that?
That was no wrong placement. Bad. Error. Restart. You're fired. So I'll forgive it, but
for the part where he's getting that milk out of that that stuff.
That was
huge nipple thing.
That was a callback to the blue milk.
Yeah.
That milk was green.
Yeah.
That milk was straight green, like a lightsaber that wasn't in the film. Sorry.
But those animals didn't even seem well.
No, I wouldn't drink
sickly.
from that. That was gross. It looked like the oh my gosh, the face of it. The thing that farted in Jar Jar's face in episode 1.
Oh, that camel-looking thing?
Yeah.
I forget what it's
called.
Yeah,
it did look like that.
Those are basically like sea cow camels, which is kind of I don't like
camels that like made love to an alien.
We don't want to talk about that.
Nice.
Yeah, I can see how that's like a little forced. I mean, yeah. Compare that to the prequels though, like.
Well, we grew up with the prequels, so the prequels are like in our blood. So.
Yeah, that kind of goes into a point I'm gonna make later, but we're like really spoiled as far as like our generation, like if the quality of the production that came out, you know, when A New Hope came out, like if we saw a movie like that today, we'd be like, what a piece of crap, you know. But then again, it's just the times. But.
I mean, the actors even thought it was a piece of crap. They were embarrassed to be in it.
Yeah.
And then, like,
true.
The whole cult just came out like, this is the movie of the century.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the funny parts in episodes 1, 2, and 3 were, like, Obi-Wan making a snobby remark to Anakin about being young and reckless. And now you've got, like, Yo Mama jokes.
Yeah.
You know, which, like, Obi-Wan's jokes were, like, appropriate and fitting.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, this is...
I didn't mind the Poe thing, like whenever he was talking to Hux because he was stalling.
I thought that was good with the Yo Mama joke.
What I had a problem with more was whenever BB8 was like he went into the cockpit, and he was just like,
oh yeah, and it was like,
yeah, like that to me was just
like,
okay.
I'm done.
Yeah, like to me that was just
like the funny parts of every movie.
That was kind of like a Pixar moment, you know?
That was
like I didn't like that particular part. But
Yeah, could have done without it.
anything else? What?
Nothing else that I can forgive.
Well, I mean, what else did you like that you can't forgive?
Did I not like that I can't forgive?
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you notice that I have a bad feeling about this wasn't in the movie?
Did you miss that?
It's tradition, man.
See, it's one of those things where, like, I've heard so many people say, that's such a cheesy line, why do they always say it? And now that they don't present it, it's like, oh, where was it?
It's a cheesy line, like that. That's the beauty of it. I liked how in Rogue One, how K2SO like tried to say it, but then they were like, shh.
The odds? Like,
Yeah.
I was trying to tell them the odds.
No. When they were getting in the elevator, when they were on Scarif,
Yeah.
and they were going up, and he goes, "I have a bad feeling." They're like, shh, because they're disguised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. But
Yeah.
I'm really sad that they didn't put it in this movie.
Mm.
People are saying that BB8 said it when him and Poe were preparing to charge up that new X-wing and just go at the that big ship. They're saying that he like said it in his little droid language. I have a bad feeling about this, and Poe was like, "It's all right, buddy, flipping stuff and preparing."
Happy beeps.
Oh, is
Happy
that what they're
beeps.
saying? Those beeps
Yeah,
were?
they're saying that. That's what those beeps were.
Oh my gosh.
So-
that'd
That's
be
a
kind
little-
of funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a stretch.
I honestly, no, I mean, it makes sense. It really does make sense if you go back and put that over him and just play along with it and then read Poe's response. Look at the scenario. Look what they're about to do. One fighter against
I have that.
We'll have to wait till the Blu-ray comes out and like actually look at the captions and be like, droid translation. Like, yeah. But I don't know. What else did you not like?
That you can forget.
that I can forgive.
No, because you already said
Okay,
that was
so,
only
no,
thing.
we're done. We're done with that. But Snoke's death.
I've got theories about that.
Snoke's death.
Oh God.
Death.
Okay, so
Oh,
talk to me about
God.
that.
Death.
Killed by a Vader fanboy. You and I are on the same.
I don't think that Snoke is dead.
I don't
If
either.
so, if he is dead, that was bullcrap. That was way too much hype over a villain. I feel as if everything that JJ worked towards in this film, he completely, Rian Johnson just kind of threw out the window. I think he did on purpose because he plays mind games. Apparently, in all of his movies, he plays mind games. So I think this is just a red herring. I don't think Snoke is actually dead, but if he is, that was stupid. Because there's all this 2 years of trying to figure out who Snoke is. Like everything from Mace Windu to the youngling that said, Master Skywalker, too many of them, what are we going to do? You know?
Which is one of like the most memed.
Yes,
scenes.
like it was a beautiful meme fest that came from that horrible scene.
The prequels are so memeable if you think about
They
it.
are, you can make a meme of any line in the prequels, and it goes to show when who's that fat alien with the 4 arms wearing the greasy apron in episode 2?
The guy that was in Dex's Diner?
Watto?
Dex.
When Obi-Wan went to him and he said, well, what do you know? Somebody made a meme out of that. It literally, the meme said, you can make a meme out of any line from the prequels, and it had him going,
Yeah.
well, what do you know?
I love how like hello there is such an iconic quote, and it's just like Obi-Wan saying hello
I
there.
found a
Hello
meme, and I'm actually going to show you this meme right here, and it's beautiful, and I want to cry, and it kind of makes up for the crappiness of episode 7, but
Please don't do that.
Oh my gosh. General Finobi. Wow. That's great.
it's beautiful. But yeah, so Snoke's death kind of dumb. I don't think that. See, and part of me wants to believe that he's actually dead. Part of me wants to believe that he's not, because he tricked him by literally tilting his lightsaber. Like, oh, he's turning his lightsaber and is about to ignite to kill his enemy. And I'm like,
God.
how dumb are you? How dumb? There's a lightsaber.
He's
scene.
only short of being a god. That's how dumb he is.
Yeah.
It makes no sense, right?
I have my
It makes-
opinions about that.
It really doesn't make any sense. And then he gets stabbed through the side. And how in the heck is Rey going to defend herself again against 6 Praetorian guards who I don't know. Nobody knows their background. But how's she gonna defend against those guys?
Yeah. Well, the whole thing about Rey, like, I'm gonna get into that a little bit, but Rey is a Mary Sue. Like, I love Rey. I love Daisy Ridley. If I've said this before, if she wasn't as charming and endearing of a character, or I guess of an actress as she is, I'd have a much bigger problem with her. But let's face it, she's a Mary Sue. She's never had a struggle. She's never had any type of. She's never struggled with anything. Her progression has always been. She has had no progression. Like, it's just she's always been able to handle everything that is thrown at her. But I'll get into that. But what else?
We can move on. One of y'all. I mean, I don't want to like empty all of my stuff right now. I got a love bank.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I think something that I didn't like that I can forgive, and I think most of y'all will disagree, but I can forgive the casino scene. A lot of people think that was like a huge waste, like it didn't even matter. I can forgive it, but I mean, there were a lot of missed opportunities, I think, in this that I really wish were in the movie rather than what was in the movie. Such as, why not just have the oh god, why am I having a brain fart right now? I think it's because it's my turn.
The code cracker?
Where
You're talking about
where Han shot first.
The cantina?
Yeah, I wish it was there. But obviously it can't be there. But
well, they had a cantina scene in Episode 4, then they had a cantina scene in The Force Awakens. I don't know. Like,
why
think
couldn't
that's
they?
Too much?
Why couldn't they?
You just have a thing. I just feel like if they would have repeated it.
That's a classic thing. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's what J.J. Abrams thought when he directed The Force Awakens.
But then they get this new guy, and then he's like,
see, it's like, to me,
screw everything you love. You'll love what I've gotten.
With Star Wars fans, you just can't win sometimes with Star Wars fans. Because, like, everyone has an idea of what they want Star Wars to be. People want it to be just like the originals. But I've heard people say the prequels aren't even canon. Like, just the originals. And then, then you have people that complain about, it's too similar to let's try something new, and then you try something new, and it's like, they're mad about it. Like, I don't know. It's just like Star Wars fans are very, myself included, like, I just think we're very spoiled, and because of our expectations, we're very hard to please. And everyone wants to be a director. Everyone wants to direct their own Star Wars movie and have it go the direction that they want. I don't know, like...
Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
I get it, but...
Yeah.
I personally think Mark Hamill, if he got the chance to make his own Star Wars film, it would be bomb.
Be pretty good.
I'm just saying. Like, if he had, like, a huge voice in the creative aspect of a movie...
I think there'd be a lot of jokes about, like, you're just a young blood kind of jokes. Like, or back in my day kind of jokes, if he made a movie.
See, I don't mind those, like...
Yeah.
Because society has lost respect for its elders, but I'm going to not go on a rant.
Yeah.
Another missed opportunity. It's really small, but it's just little cameos could have been in the movie too. Like, there's a scene at the end of that planet where it's that casino planet.
Canto Bight.
Thank you, Canto Bight. They're leaving, and they get in this ship that DJ steals. And they're going through the history of ships and not previous owners, but just the ship's history. Mm-hmm. And they could have had, like, Lando just, like, come up right then, and then all of a sudden the ship gets shot at and they have to get out of here, and then it, changes,
What, like it was Lando's ship?
Like, it would have been great if it was a ship that Lando had smuggled or that he had sold or something. Like, he was a previous owner or whatever.
A Lando reference in that movie would have been... Okay.
It would have been.
It would have just been like a little cameo, nothing really to change the course of the story, but just like, oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a dangerous zone because it can feel like, okay, you're trying to cram the galaxy is so big, and like just
which
always
they kind
using
of
the same characters.
Showing
it's
us with Rogue One, Force Awakens, and this. They're like, there's more planets in the mid rim that you didn't even know about.
Like, what are the odds that Lando is the one like ship dealer or like the
Yeah.
I don't know, like it would have been cool. I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it would have had to be executed really well
Mm-hmm.
for it to come out for it to not come out as like just trying to cram something in there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What if Lando was the code cracker?
Something like that. If they just had this old fat black dude just like hustling around.
Is Billy D. Williams fat now?
Kind of.
I don't.
He's a little big, but I wouldn't say fat. He's just a little big. He's old, so like.
Yeah, I mean Carrie Fisher was not the same Carrie Fisher as
Yeah.
you know.
No, she was too back a day.
Actually, Mark Hamill had to lose a lot of weight for this role. Like he actually said he was in the gym and he really didn't like it. So, but
You know what? I mean, he probably just gained like 3 years of his life. So,
That's true.
just saying.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Probably just paid for another 5.
I did, yeah, I'll say one more thing. I did not like seeing Kylo Ren shirtless. Please.
You did
God, no.
Ben
That
Swallow.
was so awkward. I'm like, they showed that, and he's like sweaty, and like he just finished training or something.
And he's not even
I'm
ripped.
like,
He's
what
just
the?
he's like average.
I know,
not
it was just
average,
like
dude.
large.
he's just like
Large.
broad.
He's
You know what I mean?
There was no definition. It was just like a sheet of
He's not even
chest.
swole. He's been thick.
something. I'm like,
Ben Swallow,
What the
thick Swallow.
Nah, dude, he's swole. He's
I had
not,
to like
he's not cut.
laugh quietly because everybody else is taking it very seriously because they're having this like force like walkie-talkie moment.
Yeah, but then
right
even
now.
Ray's like, can you put a shirt on or something?
Yeah.
Like, so
She's
they
like, I
kind
hate
of
this guy, but
He's kind of cute.
like, dang,
My
like,
brother
Boy,
from
you
another
thick.
mother.
my brother from
Literally.
the same mother.
Man.
like, okay, I didn't mind that scene. I didn't
The shirtless
care
scene?
for it. It's not like I was indifferent about it, but then I saw the memes and now I love it.
Yeah, it
was like, thank you.
Came from it, and you know what? At least
Yeah.
a shirtless scene, something good came from it. Because in episode 3, when Anakin woke up from that nightmare, like it showed like he was chiseled, and like what did that do? But like please some gay dudes and everyone watching the movie.
I mean, I liked it and I'm not gay, but I'm just saying.
I mean, like as a dude, I don't sleep in like a full suit. I pretty much sleep in my boxers.
But he
so,
wasn't
like,
even sleeping. He was like sitting on a stool.
No,
I mean, like, he woke up
gets
from a
out.
nightmare.
Yeah, he gets
Oh, he
out.
woke
Yeah,
up.
he was in bed. He straight
Like I said.
shot out of
Dude,
bed.
he's sleeping
Six
next
at
to his
once.
wife, so like, come on, like he's not gonna have clothes on. Like I wouldn't.
Well, yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the movie enough to not notice a lot of things that are pretty annoying if you see it a second time.
Yeah,
But anyway, I mean, a lot of things you said I highly agree with.
yeah.
Things that pissed you off. I'm like, yep. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
gonna quit.
Do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Oh no, you can go first. Trust me, there's a
Okay.
list.
So I got to stretch for this.
and
one
I'm
a
not
little
even
bit.
done with my list. So.
Do I need to turn off my lightsaber?
Okay,
Rage.
so I mean, I will say this: the movie was not perfect. I wrote some things down here.
Wait, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect.
What?
Well, I mean, no, but okay. So like, what I didn't like, I actually wrote down the BB8 humor. The BB8 humor wasn't just not that. It wasn't just that scene. It was also like whenever he was writing the AT-AT or whatever.
That's funny.
Oh,
Like, are you
that was-
serious?
Oh, that was so dumb.
That was like,
Oh yeah.
dude, if you think about it,
Like, he's not Chewbacca.
BB-8 is OP,
yes,
bro.
He's like more OP than freaking R2D2 now.
Yeah.
Oh
Like,
heck yeah.
and he's a ball. Like, come on, like he's
The
not
baller.
supposed to be able to do all this
He's
stuff.
not
Quite the baller.
Like he took out an entire like
Oh yeah,
little
a bunch
squad
of guards
yeah.
at Bite.
With
Canton
coins.
Bites.
with yeah, like that to me, like
With taser arms.
they push BB-8 just
And
a
I
little too
doubt
much.
that drunk little midget goblin freak thing from. Okay, yeah, good. No.
putting its coins in.
Put that many coins inside of him.
That thing was from Harry Potter, dude.
He was kind of drunk.
The
Very
same
drunk.
banker from
Yeah,
Harry
that's true.
Potter.
No,
Oh.
those
Hey,
are goblins. That thing was more like a
Oh yeah.
gremlin.
Yeah, that was
like I
straight
said.
up
I've
gremlin.
seen it once.
this is like off topic, but confirmed in episode 1, the ET race is in episode 1.
Yeah.
Like you can see the ET race.
Yeah.
They're in the Senate
Star Wars.
chambers.
Can.
Yeah.
Nice.
But anyway, so I didn't like BB-8 humor. I didn't like how Poe was treated. Here's why. Poe. This movie picks up right after This movie picks up right after The
Minutes.
Force Awakens, like
Minutes.
directly right after. Poe just got done saving the Resistance like completely like single-handedly flew into the Starkiller base, flew around
Through
like
a crack.
yeah, like he was so heroic. He just saved the resistance, and then here's what people don't like. Kind of maybe they weren't tracking it, but okay, so that dreadnought that he blew up. That dreadnought was the one with the cannons, the super heavy, crazy cannons that like could shoot a target that was completely out of sight. If he wouldn't have destroyed that dreadnought, and they get followed into hyperspace, whenever they show up on the other side, they can just blow them up. So Poe literally saved their lives. All those people that died in that run, actually, if they wouldn't have done that, and then Snoke's ship tracks them into hyperspace, when they show up, they would have blown him up right away because those guns were just too OP. They would have blown him up immediately, which so they were. And Poe's demotion happened after they knew that there was hyperspace tracking. So like to me, it doesn't make sense that Leia would demote him for that, because Poe, first of all, has done so much already, and then defeating that dreadnought was a must, because if they didn't, that dreadnought was gonna take out their cruiser anyway. So I didn't like how Poe was treated. I think that, Leia slapped him.
Straight up.
And to me, that's like, first of all, if you're in a situation where like you have a problem with high command, usually high command brings you into their quarters and they're like, in my quarters now, or in my chambers now, or whatever. It's not like, it's more of a private thing, and I think that was a little disrespectful. After everything Poe did, like, I didn't like that. So I could say a lot more about that, but I'm just going to stop it there. Number 3, Admiral Ackbar's death. He died freaking, like, he was in the bridge. Admiral Ackbar is, like, memed. He's super loved. Like, you know, and to me, Admiral Ackbar and Holdo's death should have been switched if Holdo died. No, I actually would have saved Holdo and developed Holdo's character a little more and actually had her take Leia's place now that Carrie Fisher's gone.
Dude.
Rest her soul.
Yeah.
Other than being a feminist meme, literally.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I would have saved her character, developed her character a little more, and used Admiral Ackbar, you know, and actually give him a good death, like what he did. Because first of all, here's the thing. Holdo, like, she was a good, like, military chick, but
Apparently, we have no clue.
I think she's in one of the novels, like, but anyway, Ackbar.
Yeah, she's in the waffle.
Ackbar has a history
Yeah,
since the Clone Wars. Admiral Ackbar has a history of being a really good general and just like leading troops and just being really militarily minded, just really strategic.
And you know what? He didn't even die in a trap.
They could have had.
Apparently-
they could have had one of the pilots in the Star Storm like, "It's a trap."
Actually, apparently,
Like,
his final words, not apparently, were, "It's a trap," which makes no sense. I think they were just like, "Oh yeah, Admiral Ackbar died. Oh, by the way, his final words were, it's a trap."
Wait,
like,
who
did
said
he say
that?
I don't know. It's like
Someone said that?
some Disney executive or whatever. When people are like, "You killed Ackbar without a single word from him in the entire film." Well, actually, his last words were, "It's a trap."
That's bullcrap.
Oh, I didn't.
Which is
I
total,
didn't know
which
that.
is total nonsense. After watching it twice, no.
No.
Okay, so yeah, I would have given Admiral Ackbar that good death. You know, just going through that ship. That would have been like a perfect send off for Ackbar.
Or you're
Holdo,
trapped.
I mean, as much of weird character she was, she did some weird things. Like, she hid what she was doing from the resistance. Like, she was kind of like whatever, but like I would have developed her a little more if, you know, if they would have introduced her. Like, I get that, you know, she was introduced to, you know, there was a lot of female characters introduced, female lead characters introduced into this movie, and yeah, and I get why they did it, but like I would have, if you're gonna introduce her, or for example Phasma, that was one of my next ones. Like, if you're gonna introduce Phasma, like, do something with her. You know, like, I think that Phasma was kind of like just put in there just to kind of like,
Oh, look, it's a cool stormtrooper.
yeah. Now, one thing I will say about Phasma is that Phasma, the reason why she's such a disappointment is because there's such a great level of expectation for her. Let me put it in perspective. When we saw The Empire Strikes Back and we saw Return of the Jedi, we knew nothing about Boba Fett. We didn't even know he was really going to be in the movie. Well, I wasn't really I didn't watch the movies in theaters. I was too young or whatever. But when I watched them for the first time, I had zero expectation for Boba Fett. Now, when he shows up and does something cool, then I'm like, whoa, that's a cool character, even though he was on screen for only 30 seconds or whatever, however long. The reason why we're disappointed with Phasma is because of how much she's been hyped up. If she wasn't even in the poster, if she was just kind of thrown in there, we would have been like, whoa, that's a cool character. I kind of want to know more about her. But the fact that she was so built up. Now, she does have her own novel, and from what I hear, it's all right or whatever. But just for a normal movie viewer that don't know anything about her, to hype her up this much and then not use her in the movie, and I don't even know if she's dead, really. I don't know. She was in a trash compactor in The Force Awakens, and so I don't know. Disney might do some kind of thing, some kind of
She's no way.
She's
sorcery.
a beast. In the comic books, she goes up against this huge sea monster.
Really?
It's pretty dope.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure she's a cool character, but I
guess
think
she
that
can go up against space.
yeah, space and fire and
With
brimstone.
a cracked helmet.
Yeah, I just think
She's
that
dead.
she was
She did.
mainly a disappointment because of the hype that was behind her that was unfulfilled. Where were the Knights of Ren? The Knights of Ren were nowhere to be found. They were so built up, also in The Force Awakens, in the novels, and all this stuff, and they were nowhere to be found. Hopefully they'll have something, they'll come in episode 9 or whatever. Did you have something to say about that?
That's what I was gonna say. Since they're so teased, and then you found out that the Knights of Ren aren't just Knights of Ren. They could possibly be, the students that Ben took with him after,
They
killing all the
That's what I
Jedis. I'm like, okay, so those are the Knights of Ren. They're not the Praetorian Guard. They're the Knights. Okay, so where have they been at? And now that, Leia, or I'm sorry.
Aftermath.
Yeah, the aftermath of everything, I think Kylo Ren's going to have to recuperate. And he's basically just going to be like, all right, minions. and then they're going to serve as basically cannon fodder for Rey because, OP is OP is OP.
Rey's
Yeah.
gonna
Slash dash,
shred
whatever.
through 'em.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I
With
think
zero
they
experience.
could. I think they could take her, for sure.
I don't know. It's
Because they're
Rey.
like a bunch of ninjas.
Dude, she's Rey though. She took Kylo Ren with zero training. Come on.
And cut his face and scarred him forever.
And his chest, that went down. If you saw, it went down and cut his beautiful pectoral muscle.
She would have decapitated him if J.J. Abrams wasn't directing the movie. If it wouldn't have been a kid-friendly movie like The Phantom Menace
It's
was,
a Disney movie.
then, there would have definitely... Although, see, that's why I love George Lucas. Even in a kid movie, Darth Maul gets chopped off in half.
Oh, that's awesome.
He took so many risks, and look, I love George Lucas because no matter how outlandish his ideas were, he didn't care. He made something that was his own. It came from his mind, and whether people liked it or not, he stuck by it. And I love the prequels. I'm one of the few. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I like it. They're flawed, yes, but anyway, that's a different topic. Number 6. Well, I didn't like so much the fact that they killed off Luke. If anything, I would have killed him off in episode 9 to kind of pass the torch.
Slow it down.
I feel like he didn't have to die.
It's too soon.
I understood why he did, and I understand the circumstances and all that. I just wouldn't have done it that way. And even if he force projected and it drained him or whatever, I don't know. I think that he's Luke Skywalker. He should be able to live past that. Or he should. I just didn't see a purpose in him being one with the Force yet. So that was my problem with that. And then my final one. Feminism. Feminism is one of my biggest criticisms. I had another video right now that I posted on my channel that,
Around
about-
the time of Rogue One.
yeah, something like that, about feminism. And here's the thing about feminism. I'm not going to go too into that topic because you can watch the other video. I'll link it down below, and it's also probably up here. But my main thing with feminism is I don't mind equality. I love equality. I think there should be gender equality, but feminism has become about revenge. It's become about like being superior. It's become about, like, if you look at all the characters, the condescension that we saw in the Last Jedi, from Holdo towards Poe. Granted, I thought it was a cool lesson that Poe learned, that, you know, you shouldn't just be like a cocky, like, that you shouldn't just resort to, some things can't be accomplished with violence. Like, sometimes you have to stop back and think, and I get that. Like, I like the overall message of the movie, but you see this agenda that Disney's pushing with strong female characters, and it's not just with Star Wars. It's we saw it in Marvel with Wonder Woman. We saw it.
Wonder Woman is DC.
Hold on, back up.
Wonder Woman is DC.
You're right. I'm saying, like, not just with Disney, but like in movies in general in 2017. Like, there's so much feminism going on right now, which, like, I'm going to say again, I don't mind feminism as far as equality. I think equality is great. I just think right now it's about, like, there's such a push to, like, try to prove a point. Like, yeah, a female character can be, like, tough and she can be a leader and like, okay, we get it, you know, but I feel like they're just pushing it too hard. The whole feminism thing, like, is just kind of at a toxic level right now, and I'm not about it. I don't think like extreme feminism or extreme meninism, if you can even call that. I think there should be a balance. Like, equality is good. I think that you should put a female character in there if she fits, or put a male character in there if he fits. But I just feel like they're just trying to cram in all these, like, for example, the chick that Rose's sister that sacrificed herself. Okay, you got Rose, you got Rey, you got Leia, you got Holdo, you got Phasma. Like, I get it. Like, females can do pretty cool stuff too. You know?
I need to say something.
Go ahead.
Only 2 of those are alive. Only 2 of those ladies you've mentioned are alive. We're gonna have to figure out.
There's 3.
Okay, yeah, Leia's alive.
No, 4. Then technically.
Okay.
Who's the 4th?
Rose.
Oh,
Okay.
and Phasma's, like, up in the air.
Rose.
Yeah.
So
Rose,
Rey,
Leia.
Rose, Rey, Leia,
And then question mark.
Phasma is dead.
Phasma.
Phasma is dead.
Okay. My thing is, it's
Dead.
You're like,
back.
you're like,
Yeah.
no.
she needs to just die off. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you have a point in some ways where the fad of the trend, I guess, the trend has become a little annoying, where, you know, let's really push feminism in a lot of major arcs in society or nerd culture even. Mm-hmm. So, like, okay, let's put a lightsaber in the hands of a woman and have her give her this awesome underdog story.
Instantly be overpowered.
And be instantly overpowered. And so there are these things that make her really broken, and even if she was a dude, you'd be really annoyed by the way her character has developed. But it's almost become trendy, and that's where it can... But here's the thing is, though, nerd culture, I think, is mostly breathing neckbeard dudes. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of money is involved, and they're trying to get the other sex to get into the nerd culture, and so they're trying to get more girls
I understand why they're doing
interested in it. And so, yeah, there are those things.
It's a cash grab, too.
But I mean, I don't know. I kind of like it. I think it has been... because of the trend, it has given itself a lot more weight as far as, like, women of Star Wars goes. I mean, you've got Jen from and she was awesome.
And then you have Forces of Destiny.
But the thing is, like, Jen had flaws, and that was super cool to see, is that she had these flaws. Rey has pretty much just been this Captain America or Wonder Woman even of Star Wars, and that's been I mean, Leia, I thought, was like the best.
And Leia's justified too, because she's a Skywalker.
And she's scrappy, and like she has her flaws too, and so anyway, I'm gonna let it go.
But for example, Forces of Destiny, a show literally just about the females of Star Wars. You have in Star Wars, you don't know about that show?
No.
Forces of Destiny is a little cartoon that's like The animation's really crappy.
Inspired by Destiny's Child.
Probably. But it's all about just focusing on Padme, all the female characters, Ahsoka, all those people. Okay, then you have Star Wars Rebels, which has Hera, has Sabine, has some really strong female characters, which I'm a fan of. Like,
they cute too.
they're cartoons, man.
Yeah, man. But
Just sorry to break it to you, but
they cute.
Speaking of cute,
yeah, sorry. Wait. Continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, no, but
and then I'll say it again.
Yeah, I just feel like there's like I said, you can watch the video. I go into more detail, but there's just an agenda to like really push. I just think they're being a little too overly pushy with the feminism thing, and I just think that it should be done in moderation and if it fits the story, you know, like I just want to like reiterate, I'm not a female hater, I'm not like a woman hater. I just, you know, like I just don't want it to be, I wouldn't want it to be all macho, all like meninist either. Like I want it to be like a balance. Like I want to watch a Star Wars movie without seeing like a real world agenda, like a real world political agenda, like trying to be infiltrated in there. That's my only point about that.
Yep.
So those are some things I don't like. Sean, the floor is yours. Hit us, buddy.
So I'm going to start with the one thing I can forgive.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I can't forgive.
I can't forgive that.
There it is.
The one thing that I can really forgive is Leia's Force scene. Totally get it. For the uninitiated in Star Wars, Leia hasn't had the Force. She has. She's Force sensitive and she's known to use it. I can see her floating in the depths of space after being there for possibly minutes, freezing over. She would have imploded by that point. You know what? We're dealing with a world of space wizards and robots wielding swords made of plasma. Okay, fine. That gets the pass. Nothing else. So, number one, this movie starts minutes after Force Awakens. If you look at every other film, where does one end? And when Anakin is a little boy, where does it pick up? When Anakin is like 18. Okay, where does Revenge of the Sith pick up? A couple of years afterwards. Clone Wars is still going on. Dooku is still a threat. Grievous has shown up, and now he's one of the big baddies that everyone has to deal with. You know what? Great. End of the story. 20 years later, Luke. How far is the next movie? Couple years later, he's had time to train. When's Revenge of the Sith? A couple of years later. There's a lot of conflict going on between the Empire and the Rebels. Great. Fantastic. 22 years later, Rey. Great. We've had enough time. Things have happened. Fantastic. 7. 5 minutes later. So, from the time that the movie of 7 starts to the time that 8 ends has been approximately 5 days.
Pretty much.
We're talking about a war that takes years and years and years to finally break down. It's been going on forever, and you're going to say that, oh yeah, the next one's 5 minutes away. Yeah, totally, dude. It doesn't make it didn't make sense, but we're gonna roll with it. Fine. 1. 2.
Wait, before you go to 2, I want to say something real quick about that. I agree with you. It's like kind of weird how they started right after. However, the way that The Force Awakens ends, where it's like, okay, I'm giving Luke the lightsaber, it kind of begs the question, what happens right there? Like, how does that interaction go between her and Luke? That's the only reason why I see
easily
like,
flashbacked.
Why
easily flashbacked.
Yes,
you gotta know that.
That's true.
Star Wars has never flashback before until this movie.
Yeah, but so then fine. They could have done it. They could have done it.
Actually, they flashbacked technically in 7 when Rey picks up the lightsaber.
So that was a vision.
Vision's still flashbacks, bro.
That's so Raven.
Indeed, that's a Raven.
That's debatable, but
so fine.
Continue.
To the point where Rey hands Luke the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
It felt cheap. I'm not saying that his reaction was cheap. How they did it was cheap. I think if you're going to show that exact scene, I say you do it from the very get-go. You show her flying in. Luke is like peering off into the distance because clearly he knows it's coming. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in Jedi attire unless you deal in some threads of introspection, whatever. Fine. And then you see her climbing up. You see her carrying the lightsaber and the staff. You see the Millennium Falcon land. She walks up and hands it to him. He takes it in hand, looks back at her, music cuts, throws it. Instantly a funnier scene, if you wanted humor. Not what Star Wars universe is about, but you could have made the scene funnier if you wanted to. And it also rebuilds that tension. We left off on a huge cliffhanger, and then they pick up, like, right where they left off. Literally a cliffhanger. I didn't like how they've basically killed Luke as a character, not necessarily how he physically dies, but how his character has changed. Luke is not remorseful about what's happened. He's bitter. He's shut himself off from the Force. He hates the Jedi religion.
He's not remorseful?
No, he's very bitter.
I don't see that. Explain why he's bitter. I saw him literally say, like, I failed him and cry about it almost. That is remorse. Truly understandable. But when he sees someone of potential, a hope should be revived in him. A new hope, if you will. Yeah, but he didn't want to mess up with Rey. Like, how's that bitter?
But he didn't start with, here are the Jedi teachings, here where they have been mistaken. His entire thing was just like, no, the entire legacy of the Jedi is hubris and failure. Just like, all right, bitter Luke, that's cool, dude. It's not like you were...
Look, I'll give you that he might have been bitter a little bit, but he was also remorseful. You can't say he wasn't remorseful.
No, no, I'm not saying that he wasn't remorseful at all. He was just far more bitter than remorseful.
Okay.
Especially since it's his blood. Ben Solo is literally blood. And he just, he's not remorseful at the fact that, he failed him. While he is slightly, he's more bitter the fact that what happened, because that's why he shut himself off from the Force. That's why he became a hermit. He's just like, no, the Jedi are dead. I failed, which is remorse, and nobody else is going to do it either. And if someone tries to do it, I'm going to dissuade them with a leaf and smack their hand when they do something stupid.
Can I say this?
Go ahead.
I'm going to say this before I lose this thought, okay? And I don't want to write it down because it's important and it kind of fits right here. So you can complain about Luke being a hermit, and rightfully so, because you can't compare it to being Obi-Wan, you can't compare it to being Yoda, because both Yoda and Obi-Wan in exile committed themselves to more training. It wasn't a pout fest. It wasn't a blah, 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 blah. Anakin killed everybody. Bleep. It wasn't any of that. It was okay. Force Ghost and protect the Chosen One. And I honestly don't know who the Chosen One is.
Okay, what was Yoda's training?
If you watch the Clone Wars, he went to Dagobah and started his journey to try and find the Wills, right? So they told him that the secret to being immortal, right? Okay, so that's what he did when he was on Dagobah.
Okay, but how long does that take? Like, does that take 5 years or 17 years?
Well, they never say, so it's open to interpretation.
But you can also argue
say
that
a minimum of 20 years.
You can also argue that he didn't do anything to help the rebellion.
That's not true. Rebels. He talked to, who was it again? Ezra.
Okay, so he had a conversation, but
hey man, one conversation can change the world.
Okay.
The galaxy at that.
We'll get to that.
Universe at that.
So, another thing that I didn't like, Luke's last on-screen words as a living being. What are they?
See you around, kid.
See you around, kid. I almost wanted it to be so funny if he was just like, nothing personnel, kid, and just disappears. I think that would have been funnier and even better, but just only because that his last on-screen words were so garbage. The fact that Rey is exactly that, a Mary Sue, just instantly picks up a lightsaber. I am the god.
Marasu.
Marasu.
Yeah.
I think
we
didn't
even see that much training in this movie.
No, there's none.
She swung a lot around the lightsaber
by herself,
watching, but there's no context.
She cut a rock, dude.
She cut a rock in half.
Come on, dude.
And she destroyed the caretaker's little carriage, their little wheelbarrow, dude.
I mean, that wasn't her. That was gravity.
I almost teared up, dude.
She did like a small hand earthquake too, man.
Dude, like you don't know how many.
That
years,
was actually
like,
in a vision. You'll notice The Rock wasn't split when she came.
I mean,
out of
she
it.
kind of did her own hand-to-hand combat on Jakku. She's had to survive, I guess, but yeah. She didn't really any
that's what a
training in
staff.
force at all.
You notice that her fight style changed when she was wielding the staff.
Oh yeah,
and she did that, and she'd come at it, and then she put the staff down and picked up a lightsaber, and just like.
Okay.
And then she flips upside down and starts fighting like Galen Merrick.
Yes, I had a cool freak out moment. I was just like,
how in front door did she even?
Yeah, there's no context given to that to her training. So. So, God, I have too many complaints about this movie. They missed an opportunity with both Rey being related to someone who has like a huge history. For instance, they could have done like Ben Kenobi's blood, which is the reason why she has a great connection to the Force. They could have done the Luke daughter, which is fine. I don't care. That's too like predictable. Like I like the fact that she's a nobody. Anakin was a nobody. He was a freaking.
Anakin was born directly of the Force, which is why Luke has a greater connection. Which means the Skywalker bloodline is then by itself.
But he was born to a slave. Is the point? Which the point is the Force can choose anybody. She can choose a slave boy, or it can choose Rey.
Well, it doesn't choose anybody. It's in your genes.
Okay. Well,
genetics, bro. It's a pain.
Hold on, can I shut this down real quick? Okay, Kylo Ren was manipulating her. You said this to me in Oklahoma when we saw it, okay? Kylo Ren was manipulating her, saying that her parents are nobody, because he clearly said, "You're a nobody."
It's a possibility.
But not to me, honey. Come here, be my baddie.
And then he goes beta and just like,
please,
be my sidekick.
Be my side piece, please.
Okay, that is a possibility.
So he was lying. In my opinion, he was lying. It's bullcrap.
I don't give Disney that much credit.
Okay, after I said that, Rian Johnson came out and said that he believed that what he was saying was true, but he didn't say that what he was saying was true. He just said that he believed that it was true. Now,
it was convincing.
He believed what he was saying is what Rian Johnson is saying. So like
that Kylo believed what he was saying?
Yes. Yeah. That's what Rian Johnson said. So whether it's the truth, that's still up in the air, but
see, and the thing is, like, Rian Johnson, like, he's so good at red herrings. Like, they went to Snoke's ship to shut down that
the tracker.
The tracker for Lightspeed tracker thing, jogger. And that didn't even happen.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I have criticisms about that. Don't worry.
Going wrong. Yeah, I know, we can get into that. I thought that whole plot was stupid. Man, you could track it through Lightspeed. Oh god. Go to a planet.
I mean, you don't run from.
They were trying to.
They were trying, but you know what? It took too dang long.
Well, it took 18 hours.
Too dang long. Okay. Although that movie was very fast paced, timeline wise, I just thought it was crunched. But sorry, you continue with your.
There's no time for training.
I know there's no time.
There's a war to finish in 5 days. Dude.
So the Rose and Finn storyline, if you remove it from the entire film, nothing changes.
That's the point.
Which makes it completely irrelevant. It had no need to be there. Padded out.
But it did. I'm going to chime in on this because, see, the whole thing you're saying about Rose and Finn storyline, like, look, this movie is about disappointment. It's about failure. That's the point of this movie. So if they would have succeeded in their mission, that's going against the point of the movie. The whole point of this movie is about failure and disappointment, and literally, like, everything that happened was a failure. Everything that the resistance did, was
release,
a failure. The story, that was the whole point.
Everything is a failure.
That was the whole point of the movie. Is Luke's failure, Luke's moral failure. That was a big thing.
Motif.
Everything about it, like, okay, if they would have gone into that Snoke ship and disabled the thing, it's like, how predictable is that? Like, the whole point of it was
keep Snoke alive, keeps him as a major villain for the next major film instead of just killing him off after 3 minutes of screen time.
I don't think he's dead, though. I don't think he's dead.
Yeah, Snoke's definitely, like, honestly, like, 95% of me believes that he's not dead. That 5% still exists that he is dead because Disney sucks. But, yeah.
They just had so much opportunity for Snoke, and then, like, nothing happened in the film other than either A, he knew it was coming, which if he did, nobody's handled it that way before. For instance, when Obi-Wan knew he was going to die, he was just like, okay. And he put it up, and he just let it happen. When, if you wanted to put it, Luke knew he was going to die, he looked off into the sunset, the double sunset. He sees the two suns as if he were on Tatooine and fades off to the Jedi spirit world or whatever.
Which, by the way, his metal hand should have dropped and clanked on the rock because it was not a part of his body.
Ha!
So why did Anakin's
That would
not
have
do
been
that?
so funny.
Why did Darth Vader's not do that?
Because he was burned. You didn't get to see him.
So why did he
phase
come
the
back
Force.
with like limbs?
Because that's
As a Force ghost,
as
he
a
has
Force
limbs.
ghost, as he has limbs.
Yeah, but like for instance, if you watch Darth Vader pass, right? What would you see? You would see his face and like skin and body eliminate, but the suit would remain because the suit is not a part of him. It helps him survive.
So then,
Biologically.
So why did his robes go with him too? Like not his outer robes; those fell down. But the other robes he was wearing, why did they go with him too?
Okay, so Luke projected himself through the Force as
wearing a different
20 years ago, younger beard, wearing a different thing with a lightsaber. He projected the lightsaber. So
the lightsaber that was then broke.
as a Force ghost, don't you think that he could make himself appear any way that he wanted? Wearing anything? I honestly think Yoda could have shown up buck naked or wearing a Speedo if he wanted to.
That would have been pretty great. My question is, on Force astral projection, whatever you want to call it,
Force
how
robes.
how much of Episode 4 did Obi-Wan astral project himself? If you think about it, how much do you think he actually did that? If we now have this ability to astral project yourself from far away,
I didn't see him like physically project himself. I just heard his
because
voice.
like when Vader like swung through,
No, that was definitively him.
okay, and so he just kind of disappeared, just like Luke did. at
But
the
you
end.
notice that when Luke and Kylo were fighting,
Mhm.
they never touched sabers.
Oh yeah, yeah. He
Luke
kind of like
didn't
dodged it,
leave-
and he didn't even leave footprints
Then their
either.
footprints.
I'm gonna say one
That's
thing
when he
about
kinda,
Snoke.
like, noticed something was weird.
This is an excerpt of the visual guide for The Last Jedi, and this is why I believe Snoke is still alive in some shape or fashion.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
Here it is. So it's Supreme Leader Snoke, and it says, though his name is known to the galaxy and his reputation as a Supreme Leader of the First Order precedes him, few have ever seen Snoke in the flesh. He obscures himself with distance, being forever unreachable, save for a select few, like Kylo Ren, Hux, who can contact him directly. And even under such circumstances, Snoke disguises his true nature. Big clue. Whatever frailties have his body, or whatever frailties have broken his body, are dwarfed by the immense size which he typically projects his form. So
That
could it be a
talking
projection?
about-
It's saying that Snoke disguises his true nature. That leaves a lot of question. In my mind, the fact that he died so quickly, the fact that this is revealed in the visual dictionary or visual guide, and the fact that whenever Kylo was turning the lightsaber, he was literally saying, I can see Kylo's every intention. I can see him turning the blade now to strike his true enemy. Why would he say true enemy when he had a Rey in front of him? So like, I don't know. To me, we haven't seen the end of Snoke. And look, this movie, I'm kind of putting it in a box, and I'm saying once I watch episode 9, I will revisit this box. And I think that's a lot of things will be explained.
Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams both said we're not going to find out anything true about Snoke to the second half of episode 9.
And here's
They
why.
both said that.
Here's why so many people are throwing a fit because they don't know anything about Snoke. Well, no one knew anything about Darth Sidious in episode 5 and 6 when it came out.
No.
They knew nothing about him.
yeah.
They didn't know anything about him until the prequels.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying Star Wars fans are so spoiled. Like, we think we deserve all this information right away. The answers will be given in due time. So, like, I'm not freaking out about Snoke. There's a reason behind it. I don't think that Disney or Rian Johnson, as much as people hate him or as much as people hate J.J. Abrams, whatever, I don't think that they're going to... J.J. Abrams is going to wrap this all... It's going to make sense. And whether it's the outcome that we want or that we don't want, it's going to make sense. It's going to be explained. So I'm not too worried about Snoke. The whole Snoke thing, who is Snoke? Why weren't we given answers? I think that's okay. Personally, I'm okay with that because we're just so spoiled that we just want all the answers right now. We live in 2018. This is the microwave age, like everything fast, everything now.
Dang.
So
Listen,
New technology
dude,
there.
day one of 2018, you're already saying this is 2018. How millennial of you.
Hey, it's 2018, man.
So
Get with it.
I tried to do what my parents did when the original trilogy came out. Trilogy. The Orig Tridge.
Trilogy?
The Orig Tridge. I didn't watch a single trailer. I didn't read a single piece of information. I didn't look at any posters. I didn't look at anything until physically seeing it. Because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't so spoiled with information.
Or going with it with expectations. Now, after seeing 7 and seeing how they kind of did some things right, they kind of did some things wrong, I wanted to make sure that I didn't overhype myself with so many expectations. And I was very glad, because if I did have expectations, I'd be very, very, very salty, rather than just being very salty, which I am right now. But I mean, other than that, Holdo being the feminist meme, instantly killing off Admiral Ackbar for no reason whatsoever. The BB8 thing was fine. There was a lot of R2-D2 humor between him and C-3PO in the original trilogy, as well as in the prequels. It's well established that droids can be kind of funny unintentionally. I'm okay with that. But it's the main portion, the meat of the film, rather than the side pieces that really really frustrated me so bad. But this is what I do like about the movie, is that, to me, frustration, disappointment, failure, that's the theme of the movie. So the fact that things didn't work out for Finn and Rose, the fact that everything went completely not according to plan, Luke's whole thing didn't go according, he failed, to me, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. But I'm going to go into that a little later. What did you guys, as much as criticism as this movie's gotten, there's got to be something that you liked about the movie.
So that fight scene.
Yeah, I was going to say,
was the best part of the freaking movie.
It made sense.
Awesome.
It was very well coordinated.
Oh, yeah.
I liked the fact that they didn't have, lightsabers per se. They were dealing with plasma weapons that were just kind of custom fit. Yeah. And the stormtroopers also had such plasma weapons, as in the previous film, with Traitor spitting that light tonfa around, which was dope. Great fight scene, very well executed. I really like that about the film. Listen, if there's one thing that Star Wars does very well, it's combat. All aerial combat and space. I had an issue with the bombs in the very first scene. Yeah. The bombs being dropped because it's outer space, and they weren't being projected, they were just being dropped.
Oh yeah.
There's no...
There's so much
I have an explanation for that.
Space.
There's an explanation for that in the visual guide.
Is it that there is a gravitation field inside the actual ship itself, which there is a force field? That's why it had the open ends to space, and Rose's sister could not only not die instantaneously, but breathe and kick the thing.
I will read it to you right now.
Okay.
It says, bombs don't technically drop in microgravity, but are impelled from their racks by sequenced electromagnetic plates in the clip. The bombs are then drawn magnetically to their unfortunate targets. Data file from the Visual Dictionary.
Which listen, that's why it wasn't one of the things that I couldn't forgive, right?
Okay, one thing on that topic, when people say that ships aren't supposed to fall like that after they're blown up, first of all, they're in a planet's orbit. They're right next to a planet. So if a ship's thrusters stop working, So I'm going to put that to rest. If the ship's thrusters stop working, the
It would be
gravitational
naturally
pull of the planet is going to go down. Now, if they're in like the unknown regions, not close to any planets,
Yeah.
then I can give you that. But for that scene, whenever that bomber starts dropping, it makes sense because they're so close to a planet.
Yeah. Which is
Anyway.
why you'll notice that wasn't in my list of things that I could not forgive. Right? Like I joked around earlier, we're dealing with space wizards and robots wielding plasmatanas.
Yeah.
So back to that fight scene.
It was so good.
My favorite
so
part of
So good.
the whole movie, the whole fight scene, was when Kylo was like for some odd reason, he was able to take on so many of these Praetorian guards where they got stuck in a chokehold.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
Okay, use the Force.
You just killed Snoke,
Here's
man.
my
You
theory
got
about
this.
that.
But
Yeah.
Oh no, that was
best
probably all
part,
planned.
and it was a nod to the Old Republic cinematic trailers for that new DLC that they had.
Oh yeah,
Remember that
the
where they
Azulanites.
Quickly turned on when Rey was like, what did she call him? Did she call him Ben?
Yeah, she called
She
him
called,
Ben.
she called him Ben.
Because his name is Ben.
Yeah, but I just wasn't sure.
Yeah,
if
she
did.
threw it to him and he
forgot.
just.
So she threw it and he caught it on and off.
Yeah,
On and
That
off.
that was cool.
That was
That was
straight up
so
Old
awesome.
Republic cinematic trailer.
yeah, it was
Okay.
the
Valkorian's wife. I forget.
yeah
what
the
her
expansion with Valen.
Name.
Valen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she straight up like when she was fighting all those like dark side
Zulanites.
Zulanites, creepy people who were like devil worshippers and Star Wars. Yours,
Hey man,
The necromancer.
don't put devil worshippers down, man.
I am man because let's stick to Star Wars because I'm gonna bring some Jesus down on you. You keep me going. But yeah, that was probably the best part of the whole movie.
That's what you enjoyed the most.
Is what I enjoyed the most.
I do have a theory about the Praetorian Guards and why Kylo Ren didn't just grab him with the Force and chunk him. Okay, the Praetorian Guards and the two purple dudes that were standing next to the mirror thing, which Rey got pulled into, purple guards with the blue eyes, all those guys are, according
Those
to
guys
the...
aren't guards.
Well, okay, the Praetorian Guards we don't know for sure, but the purple dudes, according to the visual dictionary, visual guide, we know that they're from the unknown regions where Snoke came from. So
Yep.
they could have some kind of Force invulnerability. Snoke, a lot of people theorize that Snoke is the embodiment of the dark side, or he came from the Force, or like, so we don't
the
know.
Opposite of Anakin being born without
Something
a
like
father.
that. But as far as the Praetorian Guards go, I think that they have okay, if they're guarding Snoke, they have to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
So I feel like they have some, kind of like the Sith Inquisitors.
They probably have a force wall.
Yeah, I think that they have some kind of Force invulnerability.
In the EU, what were the bad guys?
Expanded universe for those who aren't aware.
The Yusang Bong. I
Okay.
told you about them and you didn't know much about them.
Oh.
But they were from, if you want to look them up and give like a quick little...
Oh, the ones that were gonna
from
be
the unknown-
cloned,
They were
but
from the unknown regions.
and they were Force resistant,
Yeah.
and they were gonna be
They were
cloned, but
lightsaber
then
resistant too, their armor was.
Well, apparently that didn't go as well.
yeah, and then something
yeah,
about
yeah.
like they were gonna be used as the clones, but then they couldn't be controlled like Jango Fett's offspring or whatever, or clones, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the gist of it.
So apparently, I think they are force resistant, just like
Mm-hmm.
just like the Praetorian Guard. So I believe that, and it's just because since those purple dudes were Snoke's guides,
Yeah.
so them being from the unknown regions, that kind of makes up for it. Now that I think about it, that's kind of like a cool nod to the Yusang Bong, just like a little bit, because they were big bads in the EU.
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. If I could do like a conspiracy theory, one of the two purple guards was actually probably Snoke.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Little
Which is why Snoke's
Plan B.
body is so like malformed and like crippling, yet he's so powerful. Is probably he's just like basically being puppeted.
Because we didn't see the purple guards after Rey got pulled into the mirror, after things went to crap and they started fighting. We didn't see the purple guards.
We only saw them in the first. I'm not even sure if you saw them in the first
Yeah.
throne room scene, but you didn't see them in the second. They weren't in the second.
they
Even
weren't.
when Rey walked in, they were not there.
Which is why he was, instead of being like really powerful, he was just and he's like almost like sickly.
Yeah.
Which makes sense if you were like separated from basically the thing that was giving you life.
Which I go back to this. Snoke disguises his true nature, even from those select few that can contact him directly. Whatever frailties have broken his body are dwarfed by the immense size which he typically projects his form.
Hold on. This enormous size which he typically projects his form. Are they talking about the hologram on Starkiller Base?
Well, no, that's clearly a hologram. Like, we know that. It's not like a Jedi hologram where you see like things go through him and like he instantly disappears. No, that was a data stream that was like cut off. You see like the data bits.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
if I was going to be conspiratorial.
Snoke disguises his true nature. Like, that's
I don't
what
think
he
we've
says.
seen his true form yet. I don't think we've seen Snoke's
Was that a Dragon Ball Z reference?
Yeah, we haven't even seen his final form. I don't think we have. Yeah. I don't know.
Your favorite scene?
My favorite scene? I hadn't said much in a while. But y'all have got some really interesting stuff. Like, it's been really fun. While y'all have been talking, I've been looking up things that go into my theory.
Ham on Wikipedia.
I'll talk more about it when we get into theories towards the end of this. But my favorite scene, I think aesthetically, it has to be when Holdo kamikaze through the.
That's what I was gonna say.
Everything
if I
went
couldn't
quiet.
Use that. Yeah.
There were just these,
which makes sense.
In an instant,
Yeah.
these streaks of like these white shining lines going down the Star
Which
Destroyers.
makes sense scientifically because
it was
light is
crazy.
faster than sound.
Oh yeah, it was.
Which
awesome.
is why everything like stopped.
I do want to talk about the cinematography of the movie later.
Like it was so good. I mean, I loved like. When I go see Star Wars, even when it was Episode 1, like, I lose myself to it. And then afterwards, I process it, and then I'm like, oh, I hated it. But no, when I'm watching it, like, I'm like, yeah! Like, I'm clapping in the theater, and people beside me are like, what the? Yeah. I'm like, are you seeing the same thing I'm watching? This is awesome. Even, like, I even enjoyed, like, when they were on the backs of those, like, deer horse things. Like, I thought that was
goat, dog,
whatever
horse.
Those things are. They
had the big beady eyes. They tried
and they're just like crashing through the casino and wrecking havoc everywhere, man. It was awesome. And then towards the end, I'm like, wait, why did that scene happen? And
so did you guys notice that the only non-cute alien/animals that were in the film were the ones that were like physical props?
What, the porgs?
No, the
porgs were digital
for
the most part. They were mostly digital.
Yeah.
The alien that like squirted the green milk, right?
Yeah.
That's a physical prop. Yoda was a physical prop.
Oh, that thing.
Everything else was CG.
I loved seeing Puppet Yoda. I loved it.
Which is very very respectful because like back in the olden days before you youngsters had the computer generated images.
Which I kind of hope that Mark Hamill was actually operating it. That would have been kind of funny, but.
You see him like go to squeeze it, but you don't see his other hand off screen like holding a bag of like Jello and like milk, and he's like squeezing the bag, and he just.
Oh God, dude, yeah, they were so. I mean,
I'm really glad.
It's just like
it's gross.
Like the size of those teats.
They were.
Dude, Luke went full primal.
Luke went full nasty. Did you see that meme? It was in the Movie Squad group where like Kylo Ren like shirtless, but he had like.
Oh yeah, you showed me that, and he squeezed it out of Kylo's neck. Oh, it's so good.
It was blue.
You gotta show that. It was in the video somewhere.
But dude, that milk was great.
Yeah.
That was freaking disgusting. I thought the casino crap was bullcrap, but I'm glad you loved it.
It was. I mean, I just had so much fun with it. Like even
I didn't have a problem with it.
Like it was a lot of fun. It was really enjoyable. I liked
it. Added to the pointlessness.
The cinematography was cool. Like it was really fun to like lose myself to the movie for a bit and just go along with it. There were some things though, like during the movie, it caught me off guard. I'm like, really? Like when Leia saved herself, or like things like that. But
cool.
We have to put this in perspective. George Lucas said, "This is Star Wars was made for 12-year-old boys." Yeah, George Lucas said that.
Yes.
So here we are, grown men, being super critical, and
I don't know.
See,
I'm still mentally the age of a 12-year-old. So
hey, look, I will never be too old for Star Wars.
Checked out.
But this is one of those things where like. The reason why we're so passionate about it is because it means a lot to us, and so like whether we like it, whether we hate it, it's it's like we're channeling in our little 12-year-old selves, you know. So
man.
but you got to keep that in perspective. It's a kids movie, so like you know what I mean.
I was so close to going cosplay in this,
Dude.
but I went to like a studio movie grill, and it would have been like a rolly chair, and no one else was going with me, and
you're trying to adult.
People would have wanted pictures, and I'm like, just leave me
You gave
alone.
into society, man.
Leave me
Like
alone.
you let society like
You're right, man.
change you. I'm disappointed.
So let's hit on this, okay, real quick. Real quick. Where in the crap was the green lightsaber? Where is it?
Which one?
Oh, Luke's synthetic
Luke's
green.
green lightsaber.
Yeah.
I
Where is
think
it?
he still has it, kind of like he still had the texts.
You think it was just tucked away?
He was tucked away. Like it was one of those things that that lightsaber just represented too much failure to him. So it's like kind of like when Rey in The Force Awakens opens up that crate and it's tucked away, like, and it's been hidden for years. Like I think that it's out there somewhere, but Luke just wasn't ready to look at it yet. Like he that lightsaber represents his failure. So
Or if you're gonna go with the bitter end, he's bitter of the Jedi. He's just like, this is a primitive tool. I don't even want it, which would make sense why he would see the next lightsaber and just like.
You know, I wish they would have showed it in like a drawer or something and have him sigh at it and then slam the drawer or something.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Dude, you just reminded me. Okay,
Really
so a
fun.
lot of people are like, why? That was so stupid when Luke threw the lightsaber.
It was
Okay,
it was dumb.
well, if you watch Return of the Jedi in the throne room, Luke grabs the lightsaber, and then, you know, Sidious is like, give in to your anger, or whatever he says, right?
And he tosses it aside.
And he tosses it. So, like, we've seen him do it before, so it's not, like, that out of character for Luke. Like,
Yeah.
I just want to remind people that he's done it before they're like, oh, that was completely out of character.
Well,
Especially if he's better, like you're saying, especially if he's remorseful.
it was out of
Like,
character.
it kind of makes sense.
Which
Like,
is, listen, that's why,
was
like,
it cheeky? Sure.
him throwing the lightsaber, not what I had the issue with.
Yeah.
How it was shot, that's all I had the issue with.
How it was shot, you had a problem with?
Yeah.
I had a problem with the intent behind it. Not the fact that he threw the lightsaber, it was the intent, because the intent when he threw the lightsaber in episode 6 was because he was being
Defiant.
He was being defiant and self-righteous. Which in that, the way he was doing it wasn't bad. It was standing up for literally what was right, no matter what happened to him. In this case, it was like, I want nothing to do with this bullcrap, and he just threw it. I'm sorry, but that was stupid, and there's no way you can justify it.
Opinion stated. So what
I
else
did
you
like also that they are continuing with the idea that the Force can like reach out to anyone, like nobody from nowhere.
It's genetics, man.
Broom Kid.
Broom Kid.
Broom Kid
was cool. I mean, I like that they're still going with that. I also, after this ties into theories, which I know we'll get into here.
Broom Kid is one of the
pretty
kids
soon.
of the Rebels.
Well,
in Rebels. with the
He's
lightsabers.
probably gonna get trained by Rey at some point.
Yeah, they still leave room like for you to go with your own theories, and like they don't make it really solid. Which I know that might be something we all want. It's just closure, but we are in the middle of a trilogy, probably like it's probably going to be 4 movies or more with some Star Wars stories in the middle, and so like. I don't know. It's kind of fun to not have closure right in the middle of the story.
Yeah.
So I did like that, while they're on Crate, they send out a distress signal, and all they say is like,
it's Leia's code.
And
they received it, but we haven't got back a message.
And all you have is the name of the planet, Crate. So you got to go online, you got to look up references and all this stuff, which is what I've been doing this whole time. And I've realized they probably sent it to the bunch of planets in the mid-rim, which I'll get into that here in a little bit because I'm really excited about it.
Do it, man. Go for it.
Well, I don't know if anybody else want to talk about something they liked, stuff you liked in the movie.
If you want to go into that, you can. But can we debunk a plot theory real quick?
Plot theory?
Not a plot theory, a plot hole. Big plot hole.
That you liked?
No, that really
irks your soul.
Sure.
And spirit.
Go for it.
Okay, so when Rey, oh my gosh.
So fine.
Freaking.
Oh yeah.
Hello?
My bad.
Hello there.
That's my.
Hello there.
She's my bae.
How old are you again?
I'm 26, man.
Okay, she's your
same
age.
age as her.
Hey man,
Daisy Ridley, if you're seeing this.
Her cutest moment is when she's eating in The Force Awakens.
Oh God, that little. Oh man.
Like she's
No,
just
me
with her
and
helmet
Su-
on. Like
No, me and Susie were watching, and just how she got pulled up by Snoke, and she's like being this little like defiant little girl while she's being like physically
Manhandled.
spunk.
Yeah, that was
kinda weird.
adorable. Not Snoke. That was creepy. But no. Okay, so when Finn and Rose are about to get executed, and then Holdo crashes her ship right through
Yeah.
that, there were all these stormtroopers around her.
Around Holdo?
No,
No,
around-
on the ship with
when they were right about
Finn
to
and
get
Rose.
executed. When Finn and Rose were right about to get executed, there were all these stormtroopers
Oh, yeah.
around.
That was a
Phasma
problem.
was there, and then it crashes. Everybody's dead
Except for Finn
except
and
for
Rose.
Finn. Finn's unconscious, but
Are they all
Rose is
dead, or
alive.
did they just fall down?
They're
They
dead. They were dead. And Phasma, who was 20 feet away from Finn,
No, she was right next to Finn.
okay, yeah,
Then
is now
On the
120 feet on the other side of the hangar bay.
Well, I mean, if I was gonna play devil's advocate, I'd say you don't know the amount of time in between explosion and when Finn wakes up, which would give time for BB8 to do his BB8 thing, which we already discussed the things that we don't like, and Rose to kind of like recuperate.
oh my gosh, when Rose said, "Need a lift?" Like when they're like trying to get out of
Disney.
that line right there bothered me more than the kiss. Let's talk about the kiss. Oh my gosh.
Hold on, okay, back up. Let me debunk that.
That's technically
Okay.
rape. He didn't consent to that.
Oh
True.
my gosh.
Yeah, eat that
Okay,
face.
okay, so the cinematography of the film, the pace, debunks what you just said.
Of course.
Um,
Listen, no. I'm not saying it's a winning point. There's a reason it's called devil's advocate. I'm taking the losing side here.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're right. The devil's a loser. But that's why I have to take a smack against it.
Maybe I'm setting you up, man. Maybe I'm volleyball it and like
Here's the
I'm just
alley-oop.
putting it up
Go
for you.
for it.
Bro.
Phasma was right next to Finn, and it happened like that. It all like movie this that. It all happened. So
I'm with
quickly.
you on that.
So it was a plot hole, just like Luke disappearing in his hand. Plot hole, whether you like it or not. Plot hole.
Luke.
His hand when he.
More like a
Force.
porous.
Not porous. No, okay, it wasn't a plot hole necessarily. It was just like a detail that was totally left out. That's kind of.
I just think it would have been comical. Like we wouldn't have been able to take his
death as
death
seriously
if you just see a little hand dropping.
Like tink,
Like-
tink, tink.
No,
He's
what they should have
dead,
done is
'cause
have his
that's what
hand.
happened.
What they should have done was have his hand laying, because he was doing like that meditation pose. Have his hand laying on the rock,
Land like
and it
that.
disappeared. So his hand wouldn't have clinked. It just would have stayed there. But
Well, there
right-
would have been a clink because he was like this, so it was at an angle. It
Yeah, but
is
like-
gonna fall.
Okay, well, right now you're being a little racist against people that have prosthetics or
Yes.
people that have like.
My girlfriend has one leg.
You're being ableist right now.
You know what? You know what?
It's not long enough to reach me, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Oh wait, it doesn't make sound. No,
Rip.
Oh gosh.
it doesn't. It's faulty.
No,
Well,
Oh man, I guess that's what happens when you're a non-force user.
This is a TV remote, by the
I
way.
know.
Sell it for
What?
$150.
No, it's
That's not a real lightsaber.
it's a real lightsaber, guys. Don't let. I'm kidding. No, but I do agree with you on that plot hole. Like that was actually one of the things that that I was just like, okay, the whole Phasma thing was just, to me, it was forced. Like she just shows up like
She's a waste of a
with
character.
evil BB8. Like to me, that was just a little
Oh
bit
my,
like
that was milking. They made a Verizon commercial out of it.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
look. Let me,
Phasma is a waste. They should have just let it be one of the admirals or some dude wearing all black with, one of those hats that trained him up. Just anyone put a red little shoulder patch, and that's the guy who trained Finn. Have him be the traitor or whatever. And
speaking of red, where was his red arm since it happened right away?
yeah,
He,
this is
Attention to details. Just
comics. I think he explains he actually takes it off
yeah.
at the end of the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
In the
Okay.
final
And
scene of
replaces
the
it
Force
with what?
Awakens, he doesn't have it.
Let's talk about this
Replaces it
kiss
with
real
Poe
quick.
Demotion.
What did y'all think about that kiss?
I think
That was fine.
She had a
I mean,
crush, man.
Yeah.
I mean, she was
And
crushing
they're-
hard, but that doesn't
they're-
give her the permission just to
She's like-
kiss him without his consent.
Yeah, no
thought She was
consent.
gonna die. She was like, you know what?
Oh, so as
Oh.
a final act, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
May orally rape somebody?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, that's a little far. Wow. Okay.
That's what y'all were saying.
No, but
I'm doing it as a joke.
yeah, I know. But here's what I think about that scene. I think it was fine just because Finn didn't reciprocate. Finn was kind of like, well, this is weird. Like, okay. Like, he didn't go along with it. If he would have kissed her back, then I would have been like, okay, this is way forced. But he didn't kiss her back. He was just like, okay, let's get her medical attention. Like, if something develops in episode 9, like, it's a little bit more set up now, but...
No, man. Finn and Rey.
No, Poe and Rey.
No.
Poe and Rey.
Finn has hots for Rey.
Poe and Rey.
No. Poe, they've basically made it a point to say that he wasn't gay when like Haldo shows up and he's trying to like walk up to her and impress her, and she's like, oh, I've seen one of you cocky little fly boys, and he's just like,
No, yeah, because you're right. Because the
it.
character who's played by Carrie
Ray
Fisher's
J.
daughter definitely has the hots for Poe.
clearly.
That would actually be kind of good if it's not Poe and Rey, because I kind of want Poe and Rey.
Listen,
to happen.
so here's the thing. I think there's
I want Kylo and Rey. I'm just saying.
Of course you do.
I think that might happen actually.
Bro.
The Knights of Rey featuring
That's-
Kylo.
It almost happened.
Kiss some cousins, man.
Yeah. I mean, if she was Luke's daughter,
We
then it would
don't
definitely
know.
be kid.
She could just be made of sand from Jakku,
made
and
of-
like Zeus
So-
made it happen.
I don't
So
like
I
sand.
joke around and I say like, so they wanted to do something interracial in the first film. They're like, let's have a black dude and a white chick. And then they're
God.
like, ooh, okay. And I didn't have a problem with that. And then they're like, the next film, they're like, people are saying Poe is gay. And they're like, all right, let's make Poe not gay. And so Poe clearly kind of had, in the original, like, they were just like, no, keep the jacket. Looks good on you.
Yeah, dude, straight
Like,
up,
bro,
straight
bro,
gay.
listen, I ain't gay.
Oh my God, what is happening?
I ain't gay.
What? Oh,
I ain't gay
No,
now,
no,
but
I
boy,
can see
you
it.
dirt.
I
Like,
just see it as it is.
so they wanted to do that
man.
thing originally. That's
What
my
is
theory.
happening?
They wanted to do this. And they're like, well, now we have to prove that he's not gay. And so now Poe has the hots for Rey. Finn wakes up and he still has the hots for Rey. And he hasn't lost that. Rose sees Finn and goes, oh my God, you're a war hero. And he's like, no, I'm good, fam. And like, she kisses him and like, yeah, fam. And like that final sense of like, oh, I got to kiss one of my heroes. And like, because she digs it and he's just like,
He's in shock.
cool, dude. And
He just
so like
crashed.
there's a whole bunch of like interweaving possible romance lines that are just like,
Yeah.
where it's gonna end up, nobody knows.
Yeah, I just don't want Poe to die alone. Like,
Whack.
to me, that would break my heart if just.
I mean,
Poe-
I think if Finn would have gone out in that speeder scene, it would have been a great
Yeah.
death.
I
Great death.
wanted him to go out. And
Yeah.
I was
Literally.
bracing myself for it.
I was
I
like,
thought it would have been.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it would have been a really powerful
was
ending
great.
because his whole thing is like he all his life he had been running away. Like that's the whole theme of the Force Awakens. And in this one, he decides that my life is not like the greater good, the cause is more important than my life.
Yeah.
And he's ready, closes his eyes, and I'm like, yes, that's a good ending for Finn. Like I wasn't really attached to his character before then, and then when that
And
happened,
that-
I'm like, wow, that's powerful. And then Rose, come on, Rose, like why? Like give him a hero's death, like. And then her whole line about like saving what we love instead of fighting what we hate, like to me that was just a little bit like, okay, calm down, DreamWorks.
For real.
But
I mean, like, you didn't see that coming with like, oh, protect the animals. Not
Yeah,
the little
I
kids
know.
that are being beaten by that guy. No, the animals that are being beaten by that guy, and leave the kids there
And
so
she
that
was
we.
one of those kids at one point. She still didn't give a crap. She's like,
Okay,
you know what?
I will
Everybody's
give you
gonna
this-
But
get theirs.
she left them a ring of hope, though, dude.
Oh yeah, a
oh
ring.
my god,
Because he's like, oh, cool, dude.
it goes with her character.
Broom.
I will give you that.
Broom kid.
It goes with Rose's
Broom.
character.
It's magnetic.
It makes sense for Rose. Like I didn't like it, but it makes sense.
He doesn't have the force.
It's just a magnet.
That was
It's just a
supposed to
magnet
look like a
ring, and it's a
lightsaber.
magnet
That was an
ring. That's
accident.
all it really was.
Oh, dude.
Zup.
It's a magnet, dude.
It's all magnets, dude.
Snoke's ring, and it's like one of kind of like the what do you call the Marvel stones or the
The Infinity
yeah, dude.
Infinity
Infinity
Stones?
Stones, dude.
Snoke
Did you
has
hear about
one,
that?
and Rose had one.
No. Did you hear about that ring? What his ring? What was made out of? It was made out of
Adamantium.
no.
Obsidian from Darth Vader's
From Darth
castle.
Vader's castle underneath one of his meditation chambers.
That was pretty cool.
The gold part of the ring was
From one of Palpatine's statues, right?
something related to Palpatine's statue. It had cliffs on it from I think these 4 entities called the Dwarvi or something, and Palpatine had statues of the Dwarvi in his office,
Yeah.
which is doesn't help people, but like
They were ancient
Plagueis-
philosophers, right?
Plagueis, you know, you
Yeah.
can't get over that.
Yeah.
I want to say he's Plagueis, but at the same time,
That's another one of the theories that I had roaming around in the head.
yeah, it seemed
Snoke is
viable,
Plagueis.
Snoke
but at
is
the
Plagueis.
same time,
Because
Plagueis,
if there is anyone that could theoretically keep themselves alive throughout the entirety of Star Wars, it would be Plagueis, because he figured out how to bring people back from the dead, which could, in theory, include himself.
but
But.
what throws me off is he was one of the species of like the banking clan aliens. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
The long face, the freaky eyes. He didn't look like.
Hey,
how he
that's
does now.
alienist. Or that's speciesist.
It's species.
I mean, listen,
speciesist.
over like 60 years, that thing can morph and decay, man.
No, it's racist. Human race.
Get out.
Oh.
No, not
Wait.
species, because it's a
No,
different entire
humans.
species.
There's
Okay.
no humans. Don't have a race. We're all one race.
to do with stuff?
Anyway. Yeah.
Thought the kiss was fine. Let's move on.
What else did y'all like?
The cinematography was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. I thought
Beautiful.
the new thing, like when Holdo crashed through the
Juggernaut.
no
Dreadnought.
no
Through the Dark Star Destroyer.
Snoke's ships.
Snoke ships.
Snoke's
It's like a
Oh, yeah.
mega. It was like
That looked
literally like
that
a
looked
mega Star Destroyer.
A U.S. military stealth bomber, but without the 2 back diamonds.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Production value was
I
good.
thought that cinematography was awesome.
The
there's
red
also,
flakes on crate.
That was too artsy fartsy for me.
I don't know. I did like
I like it.
the subtle joke that they put, that people were so salty about like Star Wars, and that one dude like, it's salt,
Hey.
and trying to make that like it's
Dude.
not Hoth, because Hoth had snow. This is salt. Like,
But we're still gonna put freaking walkers on there.
preserved a rebel base.
They said that streak of there we go. That streak of salt that first guy stepped on when he stepped out of the trench. They made a meme that said Star Wars fan base.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
That was pretty
Dave,
fun.
what the heck was I talking about before that? I was
Cinematography.
talking about the
Yep.
cinematography. So on Oct 2, when they're talking about when Rey's like reaching out, and then after the whole like silly thing where he hit her on the hand and smacked her, that was stupid. That had Disney princess written all. I wanted to puke. But
Yeah.
I was too in awe of the fact that it was Star Wars. But
It's hard for us to connect with Disney princesses.
yeah,
That's our angst.
we're not Disney princes. We're Star Wars.
We need more Aladdin.
Yeah. Listen, we're not Aladdins or Prince Charmings. We're not even Gastons. We are like,
Han Solo.
no, we're not even Han
We're
Solo.
like Gaston's little sidekick. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's gay.
I mean, in the new one, he's
That's
gay.
all we get, man.
In like the live action, he's gay, but in the original,
Le Fou.
That food.
Le Fou.
Le Fou. So yeah, but the cinematography on Oct 2 when he's explaining when Rey's like life, death, that gives new life. It's like I thought that was cool that it showed like little things,
Yeah.
and then it showed it went underground and it showed the skull, and then it showed plants growing. It was like it was a time lapse.
Mhm.
It was super. There's never been a time lapse in Star Wars.
That was pretty cool.
That's true. That's true.
Bet you didn't know that.
Visually was stunning. The production value was probably the best so
I don't know
far.
how much that movie cost.
Yeah. Y'all got anything? I have a couple of things that I liked about it. Okay, so first of all, one thing that was, I actually didn't know this until after the fact, but all the lightsaber sounds were original sounds. They didn't recycle any lightsaber sounds. They were original recordings. Like, they still try to mimic the original lightsaber, but I liked it because the prequel lightsabers have their own sound. They have their own. The prequel era lightsabers have their own distinct sound. Like whenever they clash swords, it's like more like that. And to where the original trilogy, it's more like whenever they clash or whatever. These had their own sounds, even though they tried to stay true to Anakin's original lightsaber, that sound, it was still an original recording of that sound. So all the lightsaber sounds that you hear are fresh. So it gives you that familiarity, but with like like your ear is like, okay, that's a new sound. Like, so I thought that was cool.
Like Kylo Ren's saber. It's just that gnarly, crackly. Yeah. I love
cracked synthetic crystal.
I love this.
Yeah,
I love this.
It's a piece of a crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. It's
Which,
awesome.
if you look at comparison between his Jedi lightsaber and his Sith or dark side lightsaber, it's practically the same except without the
Yeah, it was
the
straight,
vents.
bare, naked handle. Like there was literally, if you look back, there was nothing special about that handle.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's the same kind of design. It's just so it's a theory.
It didn't have the extra exhaust vents.
It's theorized that he just modified his old lightsaber.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I know.
So
With a broken crystal.
Your vernacular is impressive.
Thank you, sir.
Impressive.
yeah,
No.
so that was cool. Kylo Ren's ship, whatever that ship was, I forget. That was a freaking cool ship. The way he like tried spinning because it was a cool trick.
Oh yeah.
Very Skywalker.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really, really cool. I liked the way he like went into that hangar and just like completely destroyed. Which, by the way, rest in peace, Blue Leader. Oh man, I had the hots for her.
Didn't get enough screen time.
Yeah, she honestly like
She looked like Carrie Fisher young back in '77.
Blue Leader. I don't know about that, but
Oh my god.
I'm gonna admit I had the hots for Blue Leader. I wanted to see a lot more of Blue Leader.
Sucks, bro.
That's one thing I really liked. But she got blown up by Kylo Ren. I loved his ship. Okay,
God exploded.
But-
another thing. You got something?
Yes, I do. Okay, can we talk about why Luke disappeared? Can anybody else attest to the fact that was petty as crap?
Obi-Wan did it.
Obi-Wan did it with
Okay.
grace and elegance.
Yeah.
He was surprised. I think, so I will
he
also...
recuperated with everyone, set up a plan.
I will...
And Luke ran off like a...
Obi-Wan didn't need to go at that point.
Scaredy
in my
cat.
opinion.
No, I'm not talking about Luke disappearing as a Force ghost. I'm talking about him, jumping off the face of the planet.
The what?
Jumping off the face of the planet.
dropping off the grid.
Going off the grid. Disappearing from everybody after Kylo
You
turned
have to
on.
realize space. Multiple
Okay.
planets.
Yeah, I see what
I
you're
was like,
talking
dang,
about.
dude, that's just one planet. I thought that Disney could have done so much more, way better reason than that. I don't have a problem with him feeling like he failed. That's understandable. They can do that. But why he felt like he failed? Because of one small little assumption and misunderstanding. He has his lightsaber on and Kylo freaked out and turned on just like that. He didn't bother asking. He didn't defend himself and then be like, okay, WTF, man, what's going on? He didn't even bother
I
communicating.
mean, Snoke was clearly already in his head, probably already saying things
That's-
like, your master is going to try to kill you.
I do wish that was explained better.
Yes.
Because we were told about Kylo Ren's darkness, but we were never shown it.
Yeah, but the fact, I think that the whole thing that they did with that could have been so...
It could have been handled better.
It could have been different and much more expoundable. And something that truly you can tell would push him away. I thought that one little tiny stupid turn on a lightsaber, Luke could have lied about it and gotten out of it. But I thought there was somebody
Dude.
coming around y'all's.
How do you explain it though? Okay, look.
Flashback.
Why do you show up in the middle of the night when he's asleep, standing over him in full Jedi robe, not oh, I was just passed out, I thought I heard something. No, he's geared and just which is why you see it from the three different perspectives, right? You see Luke telling his original wrong version where he stood over him and then Ben turns on him and just and then you hear Ben's retelling and he's just he was standing over me with bloodlust in his eyes, which we now then know is shame. And then you see the next one where he's looking at himself, in the lightsaber in hand, and he's mortified. and then he
That he
looks
would even
over, and
do
then he
that.
sees Ben, and then Ben like almost strikes back out of fear, which go figure.
Yeah.
Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to the dark side.
It leads to stuff.
Yoda is smiling in the Force right now.
Indeed, thank you.
Uh,
Even though I'm
You left out
definitely not a
suffering.
Jedi.
You left
Definitely
you
not.
left out suffering.
Whatever, dude.
okay, look.
He was clearly already suffering.
Here's my view on that
Be a
is
Sith, bro. Be a Sith.
the reason why it broke Luke so much is because Luke had never had a moral failure before. Luke had failures in the sense that he got his arm chopped off by Darth Vader, or his hand. He lost the battle, things like that. But before this movie, and this is why I'm okay with Luke being the way he is because Luke had always been portrayed as a Superman type of a hero. He's not flawed. He always does the right thing. He's just like, morally, he's just untouchable.
That's
in
not
a
true.
sense.
You see in Revenge of the Sith or Return of the Jedi,
Power
right?
converters.
Right? No, Return of the Jedi. Vader intentionally pokes him, and he goes like, "Sister, you have a sister."
And he lashes out in the dark side.
And then he no, and just instantly like goes at him. No real technique, just bashing him over and over, and just like, that's clearly not Superman. That's like evil Superman.
Okay,
Feelings.
I'll give you that.
Red kryptonite.
He did the right thing in the end, though, and even though he
In
had
the end.
defeated Darth Vader, he never had a killing blow, and
he
so
cut off
it was never a
Cut off one of his
complete.
robot arms, man. How rude!
Yeah, that was rude. It wasn't a complete moral failure, and he triumphed in the end. It was a trial, and he triumphed. Now, I wrote something about this, but before I say it, I want to say that
I heard this.
he had never had a moral failure, so to that extent where he would kill someone that was innocent, and so I understand how heavy of a burden that was on him. So let me just read this real quick. So Mark Hamill has a problem with the way that Luke was portrayed, as you guys know. Mark Hamill says Jedis don't give up. Okay, I think we discussed this a little bit, but I'm going to read what I wrote. This was my initial thoughts. I say, okay, well, let's examine the kind of examples Luke Skywalker had from his mentors. After Order 66, what did Obi-Wan do? He went into the desert to live in hiding and lived inactive and disengaged from the rebellion. Granted, he was protecting Luke. Okay, let's see what Yoda did. He hid in Dagobah for the rest of his days. He did the wills thing that you're talking about. But he lived, he
Lived like a hermit.
Yeah, he hid in Dagobah for the rest of his days and lived like a hermit after his confrontation with Sidious, in which he said, "Failed I have, into exile I must go." So what can we expect Luke to do other than to learn from the example of his masters and go into hiding and live as a hermit, quote, give up, when he encountered failures in his life, personal, moral failures? Yoda and Obi-Wan's example and lifestyle gave Luke the permission to throw in the towel when he encountered a major failure. So why aren't we mad about Obi-Wan and Yoda's choice to hide and avoid the limelight? Or why are we more upset about Luke's oneness with the Force when Ben did the same thing in a moment where he didn't necessarily have to go just yet? George Lucas has said before that in Star Wars there are poetic cycles and mirrorings. Also, there is an old interview where Mark Hamill admits, and I'll link it below, that George Lucas asked him if he was willing to make a movie around 2011 in which he, and I quote, passed down the torch to the next generation. That I don't have a problem with. A lot of people have a problem with the way that he did it. So Rian Johnson simply executed George Lucas's original vision for Luke, even though he had his own take on it, maybe. I will conclude by saying that, in my opinion, flawed heroes are more compelling, more relatable, and ultimately more realistic than perfect Superman type. This is why I'm okay with how Luke was portrayed. Any thoughts on that?
Well, you're dead wrong.
Every word that you just said is wrong.
I hated that stupid line.
Yeah.
That was so
I mean,
bad.
I can.
Ugh.
I mean, I can see your perspective on the running away. I don't think that they lost hope, though. I think they recognize that they have failed, but I don't see them as like, okay, the light side has completely went out. I think they hung on to the spark of the light side that was still there, and they trusted in the timing and in the placement of the siblings, and trusted that, okay, we'll keep them safe, we'll make sure they grow up, and we're going to put our hope in the future, because we're basically done. We have to count on this new generation to come.
Yeah, Leia, they didn't have any problems with Leia because she was going to be with the Organas.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to be well protected. She's basically going to be like an aristocrat.
Yeah.
Luke is going to be a peasant boy.
Yeah.
So, Obi-Wan, you follow him.
Yeah.
And so, Obi-Wan made it his life's mission in that point to guide and watch over Luke. And when Luke was able to take the torch, he did not hesitate.
Yeah.
He said, come with me, I'm going to show you something.
I got nothing to do. I'm good. Yeah,
Luke
let's go.
hesitated. Luke didn't.
And what's cool about the whole Organa family is, like, they're just a bunch of these aristocrats that set the Rebel Alliance in motion.
Okay.
And now we have the not alliance, but we have resistance.
Yeah.
Resistance.
Here's
up
what's
next
fishy
that
about
Leia
that.
takes on.
Here's what's fishy about that. If Leia was with the Organas, and Senator Organa is still an active Senate member, he's in the limelight. Palpatine, meanwhile, according to the comics, was looking for Force-sensitive babies at the time. How did they not sense Leia and see that she was, extremely powerful in the Force or whatever?
Because it doesn't present itself all the time. You'll notice how Rey wasn't Force sensitive until the Final Awakening. You'll notice how Luke wasn't Force sensitive until things started happening.
Well,
like, it's not like it's just like you stick them with something and you're like, yep, that's a Force, and
it's called midichlorians.
Yeah, these midichlorians, dude.
Yeah.
What are those?
Hey,
I'm checking.
I don't know. That's just like a little nitpick thing, but I mean,
even though it's genetic, it's a recessive trait that doesn't necessarily show itself until later on. It's a dormant gene.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess a lot can be said about that. But one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, why do you think that Mace Windu, completely off topic, but no, kind of on topic, because why do you think Mace Windu, instead of when he had Palpatine cornered like this,
oh my gosh,
why do you guys think he didn't just go with the stab instead of the
It would
really
be in character for him to just go down and slice, though, just because of how aggressive his fighting style
Because
is.
it's the prequels.
Okay, and then
and it's Samuel L. Jackson, so
Yeah.
Dude.
and because it's plot armor. Yeah. But also, why didn't Luke, if Luke wanted to murder Kylo Ren, why didn't he just put the lightsaber to his head and then ignite it?
Because that's not a Jedi thing.
He's hesitating.
And
That's a
he's
dirty
scared.
Sith thing. That's a dirty Sith thing.
You'll notice how Rey didn't do the quick on and off. It was Ben that did it.
He's
Okay.
clever.
Yeah, Rey was like, oh.
Yeah,
he did.
she turned it off to let it go, re-gripped it, and then did it. Still the entire.
Man, that was such
a good.
awesome
And that was
Listen.
the cinematography at that fight scene and the fighting styles.
However,
different
the
from
throne room was very bare.
Bare?
It was very bare. It was so minimal,
That was awesome.
I think it fit Snoke's whole
even with
Yes.
his extravagant clothing
That's true.
Yeah.
and extravagant
robe.
rings.
Okay,
The throne room needed to be slightly better.
I didn't have a problem with it. If you thought it could have
He
been
had his
better.
crystal ball
Alright.
A magnifying glass in outer space.
Rey, lightsaber, episode 9.
She has to craft her own.
What will it be?
Do you think she'll use the crystal that was in Luke's lightsaber?
Oh,
No,
I hope not.
I
This is
think.
broken.
Wait, didn't?
no, she's gonna get a synthetic.
Didn't
just like
Jen-
Luke.
Didn't Jin have one around her? What?
But
There was
is that
somebody
Kyber
in the movie that
Jin-
had
Jin
a
had a
kyber crystal around
Jen
their
had a
neck.
kyber crystal.
Yeah,
Jen,
but
but
Jin's
that's
dead.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
And
So it's been floating in space.
Somewhere.
No, she was in the blast of the Death Star.
Yeah.
She
So-
did.
It'd be floating around.
She is dead. The Kyber crystal may not be.
It may be just in the rubble on Scarab.
Because Death Star material is kyber. That's what they used
Yeah.
to. So
Well, here's the thing. Ready? Theories, since we're kind of there now.
Chirrut Inuit is Snoke.
What?
Just kidding.
Okay.
Blind guy.
Jar Jar
Rogue,
Binks is
Rogue.
Yeah.
I almost said Rogue Awakens.
Rogue Awakens.
Rogue One, the
This-
blind guy.
The last Rogue Awakens.
So, one of the places she could make it is one of the planets that they possibly could have sent a distress signal to in the mid-rim, called, I think it's not Kashyyyk, obviously.
Is it an ice planet?
So while you're doing that, would it be a real crystal or a synthetic crystal?
It's like a planet that's just a floating kyber crystal.
No longer exists.
It doesn't?
Palpatine made it his mission to completely eradicate all kyber crystals, if we're going to go by canon, because he did not want that to happen. So the only thing that was allowed were synthetic crystals, which is why Luke's lightsaber is synthetic. There are no more original kyber crystals, unless you wanted to count Jin's, which would be either A, on a planet, or B, off somewhere.
Then again, I wouldn't say they're all gone.
Yeah,
I think
it's a big galaxy.
It's a very big galaxy. I think all known sources are gone. And
he spent 20 years, dude.
yeah, but like,
It's a big
20 years is
galaxy.
a very long
it's
time.
a big galaxy.
I mean,
And they were even like just about to finish it in Rogue One.
look, if they didn't find Luke and Leia while they were kids, still being raised, they could have missed some kyber crystals.
Yes, like at least one.
The Jawa could have one.
True. They're scavengers,
They
man.
didn't search jobs. They weren't like, yo.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you frisk a Jawa?
I would
What are Jawas? It's just like darkness and like two
I
yellow
want to
eyes.
see one
Children.
unmasked.
I would not.
Things that we're never
too
going to
scared.
get.
I don't necessarily want to
Way
see a
too scared.
naked Jawa, but like
Unmasked,
I'm kind of
not
curious.
It would be one of those little chaos thing or darkness things from Kingdom Hearts.
Jawas are black holes,
Tiny little black holes.
No,
like contained like.
that's a fun.
Jawas are actually robots that hide themselves to make sure they don't get enslaved.
Oh God.
Which is why Udini is actually a digital sound.
I would drive their same colors. That's for
Listen,
sure.
dude. You want to get conspiratorial?
You're on it,
I'm
man.
really good at conspiracy.
Dude, you're on it. Oh gosh.
Oh man.
Okay, so I think just one fun theory, which, by the way, before this movie, I had a theory that Finn was gonna get some kind of like neurological trigger to switch him into like I'm gonna kill all the good guys mode, and he just goes back into like his
Hunger
brainwashed.
That's a good
He would
theory.
get snapped into brainwashed mode.
Kind of like the clones where
Yeah, but
had
it
that
wasn't that
inhibitor
at
chip.
all. It wasn't that. He just
Yeah.
wasn't.
Well, they have
But-
I don't
was
even know
a-
what it's like re
like
template.
programming.
They basically like anytime that anyone shows any kind of deviance,
Reboot.
they basically take them into a re-brainwash, and they're like, all right, well, let's get rid of that. All right, send you back
Yeah.
out.
I just think if they would have done that, like the Hunger Games came out like 2 years ago or something, so that would have been too fresh, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, literally, that was
So anyway,
Hunger Games.
That is a good theory though.
Yeah.
Like if the First Order
That would have been fun.
because the First Order took the babies,
Yeah.
the stormtroopers when they were babies,
Yeah.
so they could have been inhibited.
We wouldn't have had Rose at all. We would have just had her sister who dropped bombs. We didn't even know she had a sister.
One drop bomb.
Drop bombs. So, one of my theories is that the planets that they're going to get involved in the next movie are going to be a bunch of planets from the mid-rim that include whatever this is, Waska, which is where one of those really awesome bounty hunters who looks kind of like a lizard.
What, like a Trandoshan?
Bosk?
Yeah,
Transition.
Bosk. He's from there. No, he's from Trandoshan.
Yeah.
But that's the moon, Waska. Then you got Aline. A lot of these I don't know. I've been looking up, but when you click on them, you click on the species, you're like, oh, okay, that's where that. But you got Naboo. You've got
A return
Kashyyyk.
to Naboo.
You've got
Like the
Then
my
Starting with it on
then it
episode
would
1.
connect all of the Jar Jar
Oh my
conspiracies. If they hit up Naboo and Jar Jar's like,
Misa.
expecting you. Like, oh,
No,
You know what
please.
happened?
And Jar Jar is
You guys
Snoke.
know what happened to Jar Jar after Return of the Jedi?
He stalked.
He's still alive.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
still alive.
He's still alive. He's a street clown on that booth.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
the adults know who he is and hates him. So the children have no idea, so he dresses up as a clown and entertains kids all day.
Okay,
So he's the Pennywise of Naboo.
I just think if they use Naboo, that's like we've already seen Naboo. You know, like I think they should do two planets that I really want to see is Balmora
I want to see Return to Tatooine.
and Corellia, because those two planets in the Old Republic
Oh, the Corellian
game,
system?
Oh my god, yeah, and there's so many references to it. Like, well, I'm pretty sure we'll see it in the Han Solo movie, but...
Oh, clearly.
Oh, okay, and Nar Shaddaa, please.
Yeah, I was going to say Nar Shaddaa and Raxus Prime.
Raxus Prime would be cool,
Yes,
except
I
it's a
know.
junkyard, so I don't know why they would go there.
Just maybe like pick up
Looking
something.
for parts for a new lightsaber.
Lightsaber.
Dude, that'd be cool.
Dude, I hate doing this because I get so hyped on, like, new theory. Like, when I remember watching it and, like, you see Snoke and you're like, where did he come from? I wonder what he could be. Dude, what if he's Darth Plagueis? What if it's Mace Windu? What if it's this, that? And then they just do nothing with him in this film. Just like, I spent so much time!
They get you invested.
Dude,
I just, look, two people that I want to see return to canon. Kyle Katarn, so good. Such a good character. He's Space Chuck Norris. Like, you have to love Kyle Katarn. In the Jedi Academy games and the
Jedi
Dark
Outcast.
Knight games, Kyle Katarn is iconic. And my personal favorite, I know what you're going to think, but hear me out. Galen Merrick, a.k.a. Starkiller. Yes, people say Mary Sue overpowered, all this stuff. Yes, that was a video game. They needed a video game version of him for something called The Force Unleashed. But if you read the novelization, he behaves like any other Jedi. Like, he's not that overpowered.
Galen Merrick is sick.
If you tone down Galen Merrick to novel Galen Merrick, he would be a great character. If him and Juno are out somewhere in the galaxy living a happy married life, like, that would be so cool.
He'd be like 40 or 50 by now.
Yeah. That'd be so
he was a
cool.
combo.
And you know, he kind of dies.
Well,
A spoiler alert
Yes.
to the end of the final Star Wars Unleashed game. He sacrifices himself to stop Sidious, which doesn't happen. So either A, the games aren't canon, which no,
They are.
Mr. Galen Merrick, or B, the games are canon and he's dead.
okay, look, I'm even okay with him being a clone, because the clone still inherited all of original Starkiller's memories, so it's almost like his essence was transferred in a sense.
Clone.
I'm even okay with clone Galen Merrick flying around with Juno somewhere out in the galaxy. Like, I'm okay with that.
I wonder if Juno would ask for more clones of him. Just like, listen, sometimes he needs to go out and do his work, but I get lonely.
Oh
man.
my goodness.
For things around the house. Maybe they have
Yeah.
kids. They need to look after the kids.
Right,
man.
yeah.
I wonder what the galactic consensus of morality on that
Science.
subject is, but anyway, let's stay like a little bit more on topic.
Appropriate.
We can go into like completely just
There's all kinds of
theories, but any last thoughts? Like, what did y'all like about the movie? Like, anything? Like, I'm gonna say a couple. Okay, so I actually really liked Leia using the Force. Like, I thought it was cool because I've seen her use the Force in Episode 5, just not in a combative way. She sensed Luke. She also sensed Kylo Ren in that before the bridge got blown up. She had Force affinity. She was just never trained in it. So I'm actually okay with that. Also, in space, you're not fighting gravity, so it's not like she was, defying gravity and just flying around like a freaking Goku or anything.
Like a starfighter pilot.
Yeah, like, she was literally just floating slowly. So, like, it doesn't take that much force power to float slowly in space or whatever, because you're already going at the same speed as the ship. Like, everything gets ejected into space. I'm not going to get scientific with it because the Force is supposed to be a mystical thing. Like, I'm sure there's science that refutes it anyway, so I'm not going to get into that too much. But I really like that because it was cool to see Leia use the Force in a non-combative situation. I liked Luke's Force projection, even though I thought it would have been cool. Every fanboy wishes that Luke could have been on the planet, deflecting all those bolts, like, it would have been cool. However, it was a really cool display of power to project yourself in another planet. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was dope.
The fact that for a second I thought Rey turned Kylo. Like, just for a split second when they started fighting together, and then Kylo's like, but no, I just want to rule the galaxy like Darth Vader never could. Like, I thought that was cool. I thought that was a cool twist. Yoda's, because they were building that up. Rey's like, I can turn him. Kylo Ren's our last hope. She told Luke that before she left.
Well, she said if you won't help, then Kylo is our last hope.
So I thought that was cool. I love this. Probably my favorite thing about the movie was Yoda's lesson that failure is the greatest teacher. That hit home to me, like, on a personal level, just because you can let a failure define you, or you can rise above it. And to me, that's what the theme of this movie. That's the theme, and that's the reason why Luke decided not to, burn the tree or whatever, even though Rey had taken the text or whatever. But to me, like, that statement right there just explains the movie, because there's so much failure that happens in that movie. Rose and Finn's storyline, complete failure. The whole casino scene, the whole going into Snoke's ship and failing, pointless, right? I agree, it was pointless, but that's the point. The point is that it was pointless. However, they were able to, like, rise above it. So I thought that was a really, really cool lesson by Yoda. Just, and personally in my life, like, that's such a good lesson. That failure is the greatest teacher, and you are what you grow beyond. He said something like that. I thought that was a really cool moment, and a really good learning lesson for Luke, even though he was a master, like, that's a lesson that Yoda learned even after death and just passed it on. So I thought that was cool. Let's see. I've already said the blue leader chick, like, she was great. I wanted to see more of her. Definitely, like...
I'm glad she died as soon as she did.
I'm going to forgive you for that statement. But I was definitely kind of like...
I'm not.
I was kind of like having the hots for her, not going to lie. Luke being a hermit like his masters, like... Again, this wasn't something I liked necessarily, but I understood it.
Very nostalgic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess... Anybody have anything else? Like, they want to say that they liked?
Rey is a solo.
You think so?
I know so.
No, dog.
No, because back it up. Force Awakens. When Kylo was told that Finn and BB8 were accompanied by a girl, he flipped crap and pulled that dude, that little Nazi guy, close and was like, "What girl?" When so what's the chick who looks like a dried up orange? Maz Kanata.
Dried up orange.
Dude, that's really racist.
That's speciesist.
That's true. Sorry, it's truth. But
Dang.
so when she asked him, "Who's the girl?" it cut. Rey was welcomed by Leia immediately. She walked right past Chewie and went directly to Rey after Han's death.
Well, Leia is the leader of the rebellion.
yes.
So whose
that's-
offspring would she be?
No, he's saying that she is a solo.
She's a solo.
Like Leia and
Han.
Han's daughter?
Mm-hmm. After Kylo Ren, when Kylo Ren was sent to the academy, they chose, because they knew he was in turmoil, that's why they sent him to train with Luke, right? So they didn't.
So they had twins? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that she's a younger sibling of Kylo.
So why wouldn't Han know anything about it?
Han knew. That's why Maz asked Han, and then it seemed cut.
I don't know.
It's far-fetched.
So
But not.
I draw more stock in looking at their original fight scene between Kylo and Rey, where she does like the double-handed thrust, which is a Sidious move, and he does the backwards spin up slash, which is a Mace Windu move. And I got really invested based off of a tiny thing, and we have no clue. So I'm not pulling anything from that film.
I think that it doesn't matter, and I liked that they just said, yeah, you're just a nobody. I like that. Like, it doesn't matter. It really does. To me, personally, it doesn't matter. I thought that was a cool twist.
It didn't matter that she's a nobody. She was somebody to you.
Thank you, Disney. Thank you, Disney. Like,
Please don't make me the embodiment of Disney. Please don't put the Disney logo over my face.
oh, you just went full Disney, dude. But I kind of like it.
I hate you. I had to do it. Hold on.
Anyway, so what is y'all's takeaway from this movie? Like, I guess
The theme
predictions
was-
for episode 9, overall thoughts, like in conclusion. What do you guys
In
think?
conclusion, the new bad boys are going to be the Knights of Ren.
Okay.
Just a bunch of leather wearing, motorcycle gang without motorcycles.
So space bikes.
They're just a bunch of like Vader fanboys, and it's gonna be fun to see them get. I mean, they're gonna. I'm calling. They're gonna be in the next movie, and they're gonna be the obstacle for Rey and the gang, and now like that. Kylo has the reins. He can do whatever he wants, which I think could be the beginning of the gray side, which is like a fan developed in between side of the two sides of the Force. And I think that was something that maybe he could have been asking Rey to join him in, but he's just, a jerk, so of course she's not going to want to.
And he's a hyper beta.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. So
it's weird because he was so alpha before that, and then
dude,
just
instantly beta. Listen, when he takes off his shirt and he shows that man bod, just listen.
And I think we'll see Snoke again. I don't think he's dead. I think he'll be in another form of something else, and maybe be in his real form. His final form.
There was a greater purpose to his death, I think.
I feel Frieza.
Yeah,
and so
I agree with that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of it for me. We'll see Jar Jar.
Before you Jar Jar?
I think we'll see Jar Jar.
So, what would you rate this movie?
A 7.954.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So basically an 8.
It was enjoyable. I don't think it was as bad as a 5 or a 6, but it definitely wasn't an 8 or a 9 or a 10. But it could be an 8. I like funny, so I enjoyed it. Like my favorite Marvel movies it was the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Thor Ragnarok was pretty funny.
Thor was fun too.
Ant-Man.
So I mean, I like funny Disney,
Spider-Man,
sci-fi, and nerd culture movies, but it could have been less funny. There could have been more connections. It could have been a few more hints at classic Star Wars things, and maybe I do think Rey should have received a longer, just even like a montage of training. Yeah. Like that would have been fine.
Yeah.
Like just cue Eye of the Tiger and montage, and then
I actually think I would be better with that than
right? And just like she's carrying Luke on her back all around the mountain.
Even if you throw the Eye of the Tiger music, dude, that would have been great.
Just put Eye of the Tiger over like her Force scene where she's like fighting the Rock.
Think about this.
Like John Williams with the orchestra, like playing the song.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I mean, I give it a 7.954.
Okay.
Luke said that he'd give her 3 lessons. He only gave her 2.
He still can from the ghost world.
From the Jedi spirit world.
Boom.
Exactly. So
lesson number 3 is just like never know. You never know.
You can die at any time.
And you have control over when you die.
You may not have control over when you die. When you do,
you can
like
astral
me.
project yourself.
I don't know, dude. I feel like you do have control because first of all, Obi-Wan was like, "Take me now, forced, whatever."
Disappear.
Yoda was like, "Look, I'm gonna." Yoda was like, "Hey, Luke, tuck me in real quick. Read me a bedtime story. I'm just gonna like roll over and just like pretend like I'm gonna go. Then like say one last thing and then like roll over again and just go." And so Luke is like, twin sons, like, felt really good. Like, just
take me down, Daddy Force.
Yeah. Like,
why do you gotta put it that way, man? Listen.
Hey, man. I just didn't put a comma in that.
I don't know, but overall takeaways, Andrew.
The theme of the movie was failure, so the movie was a failure. I'm just kidding. I'm very biased, but I'm learning to cope with the
We're here for you.
The canon that Israel. What the crap? Learning to cope with the canon that Disney is shoving down our throats. So, I give this movie, honestly, the movie itself. Okay, the movie itself, I give a solid 8.2.
Wow.
The movie itself, the plot and the plot holes and what they did with Luke and Rey's penis, which makes no sense. Oh,
her state of being
Overpowerness, you. Can we cut that?
Just continue.
Ray's
highly emphasized.
of being overpowered is bizarre.
Hey, son.
Yes.
Go home, man.
It's hot. It's hot in her.
It is hot in here.
So,
Listen, with the talks of Blue Leader
overpoweredness
and
Ray's overpoweredness. Gotcha.
and like predictions for like the next movie. Like, where do you think Knives gonna go?
I think Kylo Ren is going to die. I honestly think that.
Going to.
I hope Snoke comes back and kills Finn brutally, and horribly. And
first, at the beginning of the movie, right at the beginning.
Yeah.
As he should have died at the very end of this one.
Yeah.
Rip. So what would your rating be?
I'd say 8.2 out of 10.
8.2.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Gabe?
You first, my friend.
Listen, I have a feeling that mine's going to be very different.
Look,
wait a minute.
Nothing you can say can make me like
I know
you as a person.
I know, but I already know what you're going to rate it, so I would much rather they hear your positive words first.
At the end of this trilogy, they've got to set Chewie free. Like he's just like in debt, and they've just treated him like the worst.
What is gonna happen with Chewie? Because he's like
He'll go back home. He'll go back
Yeah,
home
because they're going to mid-rim. Mid-rim. What's in the mid-rim?
Kashyyyk. Telling you,
dude,
man.
we'll finally get to see.
We'll see
his
more.
family that we saw in the holiday special.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Lumpy.
Yes, Lumpy, dude.
Yeah, kill that thing.
I'm done with you. I'm so done with you. How dare you reference
Dude,
that
I bet
absolutely
they have,
disgusting,
Maybe they have
hideous.
something. What if they have a lightsaber? What if they have the green lightsaber at Kashyyyk? Huh? No.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, one of y'all.
Go ahead, man.
Oh man. So, as a film, and where it ranks as a Star Wars film, are two different numbers. If I had to rate it as a film, I would say 8. If I had to rate it as a Star Wars film, it's a 6, which puts it at a flat 7. So, while the movie was enjoyable to watch, if I had never seen any of the other Star Wars movies, I imagined that it would actually be far more enjoyable on first and second viewing. But the actual rating of it, we can't really know until Episode 9 ends and the final trilogy is over. So just like, in the original trilogy, when I was watching it, if I had to, rank Episode 4, I'd say, it was like an 8, overall. And then you watch, Empire Strikes Back, and I was like, that movie was like a 9.5. And then you watch Episode 6, and you're like, I'd say that was about an 8. So like it kind of like pushes everything together close to about a 9. Mm-hmm. And then you watch the original the prequels, and you kind of give it a lower score because of its changes that it made. I feel like the rating that I'm going to give it now is going to change based off of Episode 9.
That's a really good point, because it's so easy to judge a movie just right now. Okay, I do want to, like, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but Episode 5, a lot of people know that Episode 5 is one of the best rated right now. Well, when it first came out, it was one of the most controversial, like, least liked. I mean, it was a very divisive movie, and now it's hailed as one of the best. Am I saying Episode 8 is going to be one of the best in the future? I don't know. I'm saying it's possible, and I'm saying that it could age well, and it could explain itself a lot better in Episode 9. I don't know. So
which is why I give it a lower rating right now. I wait till the final movie comes out, and then I will rate each trilogy as its own score, not necessarily each individual part, because
that's
any
interesting.
one separated from the other two will be diminished.
That's interesting. Rating the trilogies, I have never thought of it that way. But,
You're welcome.
So takeaways, predictions, what do you think?
Takeaways, I would joke around and just be like, the theme of this movie was failure, and that it did. That joke has already been made. Takeaways, they need to answer a lot of questions in Episode 9, like a lot of questions were answered in Episode 5, and they brought up like one or two final questions, which ultimately were instantly answered at the end of 6. Mm-hmm. They put some questions out there in Episode 7. They answered maybe like one or two of them. and then they threw out like another 12, and they were like, well, wait another 2 years. Up next, the Han Solo movie. But I definitely think Knights of Ren are going to come back. If Snoke doesn't return, or if he does return, the Knights of Ren follow him, because that's where originally he picked out Kylo from.
Yeah.
Rey, I think, is still going to be trained by Luke and Yoda, because Yoda is clearly invested in her.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think, I don't want to say, actually, I might say that since they can kind of portray themselves in any way that they want, I think Ewan McGregor comes back as Ghost Obi-Wan.
Wow, okay. So you don't think CGI Obi-Wan?
Oh, no. Listen, Alec Guinness was a great Obi-Wan, and it shaped Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan. Alec Guinness, unfortunately, is no longer with us. Ewan McGregor is. And Ewan McGregor was highly liked as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I still want to see Hello There, a Star Wars story.
No, that's coming after episode 9.
Yeah.
I just want to see every Star Wars film, except every time a lightsaber is ignited or clashes, you just hear, hello there.
Hello there.
From all the different movies, and it mixes them up.
Oh, man. I think the internet can help you on that one.
I know.
There's one where it's all Michael Jackson sounds.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, my goodness.
Like when you hear, like, when the two lightsabers, like, slash off in episode 3, and, like, you hear the sound ring out, you just hear, like, Michael Jackson's,
So,
my
Gabe,
gosh.
to close us out.
Well, okay. I wrote down my takeaway just because I wanted to get all my thoughts, like, together, like, just kind of, like, in a concise way. So I'm just going to read this to you. Okay, so to me, this movie was about disappointment and failure and how to rise above it. Fans, in my opinion, are spoiled. Snoke, Rey, Phasma, cinematics. I think that, we are given so many trailers nowadays, so there's so much hype behind the characters. The thing is, we go into these movies with expectations, and I think that is what hurt this movie a lot, just because people went in with an expectation to see Luke do a certain thing, to see Snoke do a certain thing, to see Phasma do a certain thing. Like, we came in with all these expectations, to whereas the original trilogy is hailed like so highly because people didn't have expectations. George Lucas was creating this world on the go, like, as he went. And so when there are expectations set, that you saw what happened when he made the prequels. People wanted the same feel, the same thing whenever George Lucas made the prequels. Well, George Lucas wanted to do new things. He wanted to experiment. He wanted to... that's one thing I love about George Lucas. You can say what you want about him, but he is wildly creative, and he wasn't afraid to push the boundaries and to do what he wanted. Like, this is his baby. This is something George Lucas created, and ultimately that includes Jar Jar Binks. But you know what? He was bold enough to do it, and it's one of those things that, like, if you create a world in your head,
I do.
Who am I to say that's wrong? Like, it's one of those things you have to keep in perspective. This is just a fantastical world. This is just a movie. But I think the expectation going into this movie is what really hurt this movie. As far as, like, a lot of fans are like, this is not my Luke, not my president. Just kidding. But they're just like, they're in denial because they had these expectations of who Luke was, or who he was supposed to be. And I think even the characters in the movie, like Rey, had these expectations of Luke, like, Luke, you're legend. Like, you're legendary. Even in The Force Awakens, when Han Solo mentions Luke, you knew Luke? You mean, like, it was such a legendary thing. And so, like, Rey and Finn and all these characters had this expectation of Luke, and I think it's a good life lesson sometimes that expectations isn't what the reality is, and you can't put people on a pedestal, even if you have a mentor or someone that you look up to in your life that is supposed to be this shining, beaming role model in your life that never fails. Well, the reality of it is we're all humans. We're all fallible. We all make mistakes. So I found this movie to be dissatisfactory, like I was dissatisfied but satisfied at the same time. And I think that because like the theme of the flawed character, I mean, that to me, that just speaks to me. I'm gonna read the rest of this because I'm going on a rabbit trail. So overall, I enjoyed the movie. The futility of Rose and Finn's story arc added to the point, in my opinion. I thought it was bold, and I liked the intention. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. I know this is an unpopular opinion, but first of all, this is just a movie, like I said. I know Star Wars is very meaningful to us, which is why we care so deeply. That being said, I feel like a lot of people that went into this movie went in like with their arms crossed, ready to systematically pick the movie apart instead of just going to it without expectations. And like you said, lose yourself in it. Like, just embrace it, you know. Like I said, it wasn't perfect. It had a lot of flaws. I stated the things that I would change about it. Here's the thing. If you like the movie, you shouldn't have to apologize for it. If you hated it, you shouldn't have to apologize for it. It's a work of art. But at the end of the day, we can respect each other's opinions and artistic inclinations. Cinema is an art. Art is subjective to each individual. It's like I can look at a painting and say, wow, that's really beautiful. And then the other person, like if anyone's seen spoilers for, what's it called?
It.
No, spoilers for It. No, spoilers for the blind superhero guy. What's his name?
Oh, the Flash.
No,
Daredevil?
Daredevil.
Oh, yeah.
So Wilson Fisk is looking at this painting, and it's just a white blank, like there's nothing there, like, but it's so meaningful to him. And then someone else looks at it, and all they see is just a white canvas, but to him, it had so much meaning. So that's how I see art. When you listen to a song, it can have so much meaning to you, and it can have so much, it can resonate so deeply within you, and to someone else, it's like the worst song they've ever heard. So like, movies, you have to remember it's an art form. So like, it's one director, it's one vision, you know, like it's hard. So I think it's important to just like respect each other's opinions, you know, and not be so critical of, you know, something that someone else found like as, you know, meaningful or whatever. But yeah, so I think that if every one of us would have created a Star Wars movie, it would be a completely different Star Wars movie from one another. And I think, bottom line, if it was meaningful to you, it was meaningful to you. My predictions, and I'm going to keep this short because I've said a lot.
Oh yeah, we just got started.
My predictions are Rey and Kylo will have a Beauty and the Beast type of a romance. And Snoke will be back, and they'll have to team up and fight Snoke, his true form. That's my prediction.
Why not Rey and Wookiee have Rey and Chewie have a Beauty and the Beast?
How dare you forget that f***ing beautiful character's name?
That's not wrong.
So, I think that's a great way to put it. And apart from using my seething hatred, I think if I was going to describe, or if I was going to say anything about like these Star Wars movies, is I would quote a Rolling Stone song.
Oh God.
We can't always get what we want. But if we try, sometimes you might find you get what you need. And I think this generation needed a new Star Wars, which we don't know where it's going to end. We could have some issues with it. It may not be exactly what we want, but it does reintroduce something that we love to the new generation.
Yeah, you can't go chasing waterfalls.
Indeed.
I mean, I'm thankful that they're still making Star Wars movies. Like, that's, you know, like, I'm a little sad that they got rid of the EU, but, you know, I still hold on to Galen Merrick, so he's alive in my heart. But
Galen Merrick is a clone of I can't even say it. Galen Merrick is a clone of Jar Jar Binks.
¿Por qué?
Hello?
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Anyway, any closing thoughts? Anything y'all want to say before we
man.
wrap this up? Because
this was fun.
Yeah,
I have nobody at work to talk to about this stuff.
Hey man,
I was like, sweet man, it's been 4 hours. You just talking.
we can do another one of these panel sessions later.
2 years.
After episode
20 years from now.
I don't know where I'll probably be in Sam Houston State. Sorry.
Hey.
Skype.
Skip, dude.
Skip.
Anyway,
Or Discord.
I hope everyone had a great new year. It's been a good year, and I'm looking forward to this year. So,
if we could all just like vanish through the Force.
Let's go right now.
If you could like make that happen somehow.
No, seriously.
But yeah, let us know what you guys think about the movie in the comments. Your thoughts, your opinions. Like I said, I want to be respectful. I want to create a respectful environment of everyone's opinions. I don't think there's any right or wrong thing, you can say about the movie. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. If you liked it, great. There's no judgment in this channel for that kind of thing. But let us know what you thought. Have a great night. Have a good rest
If
of
you
your
made it through
break.
this whole video.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Well done. For putting up.
You might want to drink a lot of water because there was definitely some salt in this video.
Salt, yeah. A little bit of sugar too, especially when we talk about Blue Leader. But
get your
Blue Leader.
yeah.
up.
But anyway, thanks
Get
for
some
watching,
Java juice.
and y'all have a great day.
All
Take
right.
care,
Bye.
and we'll see you on the next
May the
episode
Force
of the panel.
be with you.